Chapter 97. You kids nowadays only know how to play with your phones every day. What are you laughing about? His mother, Chi Fong, took the lead and walked to the unit where her sister, Chi Yan, lived. She nagged at Lu Cheng for being reluctant to put down his phone when he was in the car. Lu Cheng was carrying alcohol, cigarettes, chicken, fish and other gifts. He didn't dare to talk back and could only laugh dryly. Fortunately, there was a generation gap between him and his mother, so she didn't find out that he was in love with her. As for whether it was a one-sided romance, judging from Yan Zhika's performance and their interactions during this period, he vaguely felt that it was more than a friend. Whether they were lovers or not was another matter. He should not have any misconception that he was feeling good about himself and made a mistake, which could ruin the good situation. The revolution hasn't succeeded yet. Comrades still need to work hard. You don't understand. Nowadays, the younger generation communicates on the internet, unlike us in the past. Lu Jisheng was also carrying a lot of gifts. Why don't I understand? If I didn't understand, would I only nag? I saw on TV that some parents are so heartless and irresponsible that they send their children to some internet addiction treatment center. Chi Fong rambled on. In the blink of an eye, they came to the third floor and pressed the doorbell. Lu Cheng had a very good impression of his aunt's house and the small supermarket that they had developed from a grocery store. He loved to play here when he was a child. Every time he looked pitifully at some snacks, his aunt, Chi Yan, who had a sharp tongue but a soft heart, would give some to him. Because of their poor family background, he rarely had snacks. The door opened and Chi Yan, in a white down jacket, took the gifts from Chi Fong with a smile. She glanced at Lu Cheng and teased him, "Cheng, your mom is willing to let you do heavy work." Chi Yan and Chi Fong looked very similar, but there were almost no crow's feet. She looked like she was in her early 30s instead of her late 40s. She was very good at taking care of herself. I'm not a kid anymore. Of course I have to help carry things. Chi Fong changed her shoes and walked into the house. When they were in middle school and high school, she didn't want Lu Cheng to study hard and rarely let him do housework. Even when she visited relatives and friends, she would carry the lightest things. Lu Cheng raised the items in his hand and flexed his muscles. He said with a smile, "I'm strong now. This is a piece of cake." While talking and laughing, the family of three entered the house. They saw Lu Cheng's grandparents and uncle, Chen Wenhua. Grandpa, Grandma, Uncle. Lu Cheng greeted them one by one, feeling a little regretful that he couldn't spend the new year at his grandfather's house. Although her uncle was considered a live-in son-in-law, her grandparents were only in their 60s. Their bodies were strong, and their spirits were high. They still lived in their hometown in the countryside, tending to a few acres of land and raising a few chickens. They were reluctant to leave the familiar environment and the relatives and neighbors that they had lived with for many years. There was a small river at the entrance. The deepest part of the river was only a little above the ankle. If you were lucky, you could really catch small fish. Further up, there was a reservoir where you could fish. Along the mountain road, there was land contracted by his relatives. There were all kinds of fruit trees planted there. In the ditch beside, tadpoles were looking for their mothers. Every year during the holidays, Lu Cheng would go there to play, like a wild horse. 2. Lu Cheng's grandpa's face was ruddy. He said with vigor, "Why didn't you come here for a few days before the new year? Come and sit down. There are sunflower seeds, peanuts, and soft candy. Choose what you like." Lu Cheng wanted to say that he didn't like peanuts, soft candy, or sunflower seeds, but when he saw the eager and enthusiastic eyes of his grandparents, he swallowed the words back down and ate a soft candy. Maybe because he was the first child of his generation, his grandparents doted on him very much. As for her grandfather, other than not having studied much, he was an all-rounder. The furniture here, the furniture in the old house in the countryside, were all made by him. Furthermore, he was a good cook. He could farm, raise chickens, fish, and catch birds. He was her idol when she was young. The family sat down and talked about Lu Cheng's college life for a long time. After a while, they moved on to other topics to let Lu Cheng have some time. How are Fei Fei and Xiao Xiao? He asked his two cousins. The two girls were still in junior high school. One was in her 3rd year, and the other was in her 1st year. The older one was called Qi Yunfei, and the younger one was called Qin Xiao Xiao. Aunt Qi Yen said angrily, I don't know where they went so early in the morning. Wait until noon. If they don't come back for lunch, I'll break their legs. Lu Qing changed the topic. Aunt, where can I buy the original proof wine and Maojian green tea from Ningshui Brewery? Don't we have them in our supermarket? Uncle Chen Wenghua interrupted in confusion. He and Lu Cheng's grandpa lived in the same village. He liked Qi Yen since he was a child. Because he had an elder brother, he moved his in-laws by being a live-in son-in-law. He was diligent and worked hard in the county with Qi Yen for many years. He worked in the grocery store, and from the grocery store to the small supermarket. He bought a house and paid off the loan. Lu Qing couldn't help but laugh. Uncle, I know what the original proof wine and Maojian green tea in your supermarket are. No one will believe you just because of the price. Chen Wenghua laughed. Don't look down on them. The original proof wine in our supermarket is also from Ningshui Brewery. Together with the sorghum from the farmers nearby, it tastes very good. Why are you asking about these two? They are not sold very often. The ones in the market are either fake or shoddy. You can't get the real one without some connections. Qi Yen asked in confusion. Lu Jisheng and Qi Fang also looked at their son in surprise. They didn't understand why he asked this. Lu Qing said half-truthfully, I have a friend who is going to pay a New Year's visit to his elder brother. His elder brother is from Ningshui and only likes the original proof wine and Maojian green tea from Ningshui Brewery. He heard that I'm going back to Ningshui, so he asked me to ask if I can buy it. If he directly mentioned Director Xing, wouldn't he be exposing his own shortcomings and frightening his parents? If he doesn't have any connections, we can only rely on luck. And now it's the new year. Alas. Qi Yen was in a dilemma. At this time, Lu Cheng's grandpa Qi Jiayu said, Yen, isn't Deng Lao-san well-connected and popular? He always praises himself for his connections. Why don't you ask him for Cheng? Bah, that Deng Lao-san is so arrogant. Every time he sees him, he looks like he wants to beat him up. And he speaks in a sarcastic tone. Why would I go to him for no reason? Qi Yen said grumpily. Lu Qing also smiled and said, Don't bother. Anyway, it's just a friend who asked me to ask. It doesn't matter if I can't buy it. Would it kill you to ask him for Cheng? Lu Cheng's grandmother Kong Meijin gently pinched Qi Yen. Okay, I'll ask. Cheng, come with me. It's on the 2nd floor. Qi Yen curled her lips and said. Auntie is a classic example of a sharp tongue but a soft heart. Lu Qing secretly laughed and stood up, following behind her. After a few steps, the two quickly went down the stairs and arrived at the door of Deng Laosan's house. Qi Yen pressed the doorbell and said angrily, Cheng, bear with it later. Deng Laosan's words are not pleasant to hear. Just treat it as a mad dog barking at you. Okay. After what happened yesterday, Lu Qing felt that most of his rashness and impulsiveness had been worn away. After a short while, the dark red door opened. A man with thinning hair said, Qi Yen, you don't come here for no reason. What can I do for you? He combed one side of his hair to the other side to cover the blankness in the middle. With several pimples on his face, he seemed to be quite angry. Deng Lao-san, didn't you say that you have a wide network? Can you get the original proof wine and Maojian green tea from Ningshui Brewery? Qi Yen asked directly. Deng Lao-san looked her and Lu Qing up and down and laughed. You also want to buy these two things? Is it necessary? Do your friends and relatives need to give you these two things? Why do you have to pretend to be rich? It's a waste of money and connections. I'm just asking if you can buy them. Do you have connections? Qi Yan took a deep breath and said. Lu Qing felt that his aunt was about to explode. He pulled her and said with a smile, "We're asking for someone else." Deng the third didn't let them in. He just stood at the door and said, "Then I'll tell you the truth. I can get them, but I can't get them for you. These two things don't look expensive, but they are priceless. It depends on connections. Do you understand? Connections? With my connections, I can only get a limited amount of them. I don't even think it's enough for me to do favors. What kind of relationship do you have with me? How much money can you give me? Why should I give you a bargain?" "Fine. Fine." Qi Yan was furious. Why do you have to say such harsh words? If Lu Qing didn't stop her, she might have quarreled with him. Lu Qing didn't want to buy them from Deng Laosan at a high price, which went against the purpose of the small gift. When they got home, Qi Yan complained in front of her mother, saying that Deng Laosan had ulcers on his head and pus on his feet. Auntie has no connections. I don't know many people in Ningxue. Who can I ask for help? Can I just buy ordinary Ningxue daku and green tea? Lu Qing murmured in his heart while listening to them. If Wang Su was still here, it wouldn't be difficult to get the original proof wine, except for Yan Zhika, who was in Jiangnan. Tao Xiaofei, Qin Rui, and Dai Linfeng were the only ones who could get it. Lu Qing was still a student, so his social circle was dominated by his classmates. He went to the balcony, opened his contact list, and called Tao Xiaofei. After a long ring, Tao Xiaofei said with a heavy nasal voice and sleepy voice, "Brother Lu, what's the matter? You're still in bed?" Lu Qing greeted him first. Tao Xiaofei smiled bitterly. "I went to bed at 6. You're so young. You're not afraid of your health." Lu Qing joked and changed the topic. "Do you know where I can buy the original proof wine and Maojian green tea from Ningxue Brewery?" Tao Xiaofei felt strange. "Brother Lu, why do you ask this?" "I've troubled Director Xing with the previous matter. I've made an appointment to visit him and want to get something he likes." Lu Qing said honestly. Tao Xiaofei laughed. "Brother Lu, you've asked the right person. Wait, I'll bring it to you directly. Are 2 bottles and 2 boxes enough?" Yes. I'll give you the money," Lu Qing said happily. "We're so close that we don't need to talk about money. Hee, to tell you the truth, my dad is also into this kind of stuff. I'm going to smuggle some to you. Anyway, he's not bad. I can get it later." Tao Xiaofei grinned. Lu Qing couldn't help but laugh. "Aren't you afraid that Uncle Tao will beat you?" "No, he's thick-skinned. And he wants to beat me every day." Tao Xiaofei said this like a normal teenager instead of a gangster who spent a lot of time in bars. "By the way, Brother Lu, where are you? I'll bring it to you directly." "No, I'm in Ningxue. You can give it to me before the 7th. Lu Qing smiled. Tao Xiaofei said, "Then I'll bring it to you. It'll only take a few minutes. My mom is going to spend the winter in South Sea. I'm not sure when I'll leave Shushan." After telling him the address, Lu Qing went back to the living room and chatted with his grandparents and aunts. About 40 minutes later, his phone rang. Tao Xiaofei had arrived. While talking on the phone, Lu Qing walked out of the building and saw the BMW 7 Series at the gate of the community. "Brother Lu." Tao Xiaofei got out of the car and gave him a bag with 2 bottles of original proof wine and 2 boxes of Maojian green tea. The original proof wine was simply packaged like the one produced in the small workshop next door. Although it's ugly, the simpler the packaging, the better it is, Tao Xiaofei said with a smile. Lu Qing looked at it and held it in his hand. He said sincerely, "Sorry to trouble you." "It's no trouble at all." Tao Xiaofei said straightforwardly, "We're old classmates." At this point, he smacked his lips. "I'm not asking you to help me fight. After seeing that scene yesterday, I was really shocked. I don't like to dance and seek excitement like I used to. I've become king good guy in the bar. Last night, someone stole the girl I had my eyes on, but I didn't say anything. Anyway, it's not my wife or girlfriend. Do you think there's a shortage of girls in the bar? Why do you have to be angry and fight for this? Lu Cheng looked at him in surprise. It's good that you have this awareness. You have money and connections. If you lose yourself because of a girl in the bar, you'll be wronged. Who can you reason with then? Tao Xiaofei nodded solemnly. Living is the most important thing. You can only enjoy life when you're alive. Huh, you look like an old man. Lu Cheng joked. Tao Xiaofei returned to normal and said with a smile, Brother Lu, I'm not asking you for anything. With your current strength and age, you may become a famous master on TV in the future. At that time, don't pretend you don't know me. I can brag to my friends. Look. Hero Lu and I had barbecue together last night. We've been friends since childhood. No problem. Huh, you're so nice. Lu Cheng agreed with a smile. Watching Tao Xiaofei drive away, he told Yan Zhika about it with a smile. Then he carried the things and went back to his aunt's house. When he was about to reach the door, he heard Deng the Third's voice from inside. Yes or no? Tell me. You're lucky. I have a friend who hasn't sent out a gift yet. I want to convert it into money. A bottle of original proof wine is 800 yuan, a box of Maojian green tea is 1,200 yuan, so the total is 2,000 yuan. Do you want it or not? Just tell me. I'm telling you, it's more expensive than normal, but I promise it's real. You won't get it again if you miss it. What's your family's connection? You can't get it in your life without luck. Lu Cheng couldn't help laughing. He pushed open the half-closed door and said, No need. I've got it. Got it? Qi Fang, Qi Yan, and the others all looked at him in surprise. Cheng just answered a phone call and went out for 10 minutes. How could he get it? You got it? Is it fake? Deng the Third's face darkened. He walked to Lu Cheng and took the bag recklessly. He rummaged through it carefully and then fell into silence. After a while, he asked in confusion, How much did you pay for it? It's real, but don't waste your money. Lu Cheng smiled and said, I didn't. Someone gave it to me. Chapter 98. A gift? Deng the Third opened his mouth and raised his voice a lot. Before Lu Cheng could answer, his face reddened like the cloth worn by the bullfighters on TV. It was as if blood was about to drip out of his face. He murmured as if he wanted to ask for clarification, but couldn't. Finally, he laughed and said, It's good that you have it. As he spoke, he put down the bag and quickly rushed to the door. He didn't pay attention and tripped over the threshold. He stumbled a few steps and almost fell into the opposite door. Then, without looking back, he hurriedly went downstairs. The living room of Qi Yan's house was quiet. After a few seconds, Lu Cheng's mother asked in confusion, Cheng, who gave it to you? What kind of social connections could a kid who had just entered college have? How could he find a way to get the original proof spirit and Maojian green tea from Mingshui Daku for free? As a mother, she felt that she had to figure it out, in case her son was cheated by others. Lu Cheng explained with a smile, Mom, do you remember Tao Xiaofei? I sat in front of him for a long time in high school. You should have seen his mom or dad at the parent-teacher conference, right? Shushan No. 1 middle school's tradition was to arrange the parents according to the student's original position during the parent-teacher conference. Yes, his mom always praised you for being good at studying and steady. She wanted to use you as a role model for Tao Xiaofei. Qi Fang immediately recalled. His mom was really dressed like a jewel. Lu Jisheng couldn't help but laugh. Oh, you learned to use idioms? Jewel is really good, really good. Qi Fang stared at him. I don't dare to compare myself with a great intellectual. But since an illiterate like me can learn to use idioms, shouldn't you, a great intellectual, learn to cook? I'll leave it to you in the future. Lu Jisheng laughed and didn't answer. He looked at Lu Cheng and asked, Tao Xiaofei gave it to you? Yes, I asked him with the intention of giving it a try. He said he had a lot of them at home, so he gave me some. Lu Cheng turned back and closed the door. You guys are quite close. He even gave it to you from afar. Qi Yan interrupted. Chen Wenguo said thoughtfully, the Tao family's background isn't bad. Not bad, not bad. Lu Cheng didn't know whether he was answering his aunt or his uncle. Suddenly, Qi Yan clapped her hands together and clapped. She said excitedly, Cheng, it's only been a while since we last met. You've grown so much. Huh, this is the first time I've seen third brother Deng so embarrassed and embarrassed. Io, what do you mean by our family's connections? If you don't rely on luck, you won't be able to get it in this lifetime? Then I gave him 2 bottles and 2 boxes, and they were all free gifts. She seemed to have vented the resentment in her chest. Qi Fang chimed in, I wanted to beat that Deng the third just now. Her eyebrows and eyes were full of joy. She was immersed in the gratification of her son's ability. The problem that the adults couldn't solve was solved with just a phone call. Since your classmate said he would give it to you, we can't just take it for free, Lu Jisheng said after pondering for a while. Lu Qing said with a smile, Dad, don't worry. I know what I'm doing. Qi Jiayu was about to praise him when he suddenly heard the sound of the key turning. He saw the door open and 2 little girls bouncing in. He laughed and said, Fei Fei, Xiao Xiao, if you come back a little later, your mom will break your legs. My mom? She's just joking. Qi Yunfei wrinkled her nose and said disdainfully. Qi Yan's face darkened. I'm just joking. You haven't been beaten for a long time. Are you itching for a beating? Mom, I won't do it again. Qi Yunfei suddenly became a lackey. Her attitude changed so fast that Lu Cheng was amazed. His 2 cousins had been lively and mischievous since they were young. The effect of the devil incarnate plus the devil incarnate was definitely more than 1 + 1. Moreover, they could be considered as the most beautiful among his siblings. Although they were not very beautiful, in the words of the Ningshui dialect, they were little good, little good. They looked cute and comfortable. Brother Lu Cheng, when did you arrive? While her sister was flattering her mother, Chen Xiaoxiao looked at Lu Cheng with a smile. She looked very similar to her sister, Qi Yunfei, especially when both of them had air bangs. However, the baby fat on her face was still there, and her eyes were a little bigger. She was less beautiful, but more cute. We arrived a long time ago. Lu Cheng said in an exaggerated and heavy tone. After exchanging a few pleasantries, the 2 girls went back to their rooms to tidy up and prepare for lunch. Lu Cheng followed them into Qi Yunfei's boudoir and closed the door with his heel. He crossed his arms in front of his chest and said with a smirk, Tell me the truth. You ran out early in the morning on the 2nd day of the new year. There must be something wrong. Chen Xiaoxiao pretended to shiver. Brother Lu Cheng, it has nothing to do with me. I'm just a cover. Sister Fei Fei went on a date. Wow, you're in love at such a young age. Lu Cheng looked at Qi Yunfei in surprise and laughed. Qi Yunfei first glanced at Chen Xiaoxiao. Traitor. Then she looked at Lu Cheng and made a face. I'm 15 years old and in my 3rd year of middle school. What kind of love is this? It's useless to tell me. You have to tell your mother. Lu Cheng raised his eyebrows. Qi Yunfei's face turned pale. Brother Lu Cheng, you're not going to betray me, are you? It depends on your performance. If you don't get into Shushan No. 1 middle school or Ningshui No. 2 middle school, you know. Lu Cheng put on a look of indifference. Seeing his exaggerated performance, Qi Yunfei was relieved. Don't just talk about me. Brother Lu Cheng, did you have a girlfriend in college? Almost. Lu Cheng stretched out his right hand and pinched the top joint of his little finger with his thumb. Oh. The 2 girls were full of gossip. That is to say, you're going to fall in love? What kind of girl is she? I'll tell you when I get her. Lu Qing didn't want to give himself bad news. Because of his two lively and likable cousins, this day was full of laughter. After dinner, Qi Jiayu and Qi Yan tried to persuade Lu Qing and his family to stay for one night and go back the next day. Qin Xiaoxiao gave up her room and slept with her sister. Lu Qing's parents lived with her, and Lu Qing became the head of the department, guarding the living room. Because Qi Fang mentioned that Lu Qing had to get up early to exercise, he went to bed at 10:30 every day. After 10 o'clock, the others didn't watch TV and went back to their rooms. Late at night, Lu Qing logged out of QQ and went to sleep. When he was sleeping soundly, he suddenly felt the vibration of his phone and woke up from the dreamless world. It was Yenjika. The time was exactly midnight. Why did she suddenly call me? Lu Qing was surprised, confused, worried and nervous. He quickly picked up the phone and chose to answer. Hello, Qing. Yenjika's familiar voice came with a smile. Yes, it's me. Lu Qing was still a little confused. Yenjika chuckled. Qing, happy birthday. Happy birthday? Lu Qing just woke up and remembered that it was his birthday after midnight. It was February 2nd on the Gregorian calendar. If you didn't give me this number, I would have forgotten it myself. Lu Qing was overjoyed and beamed. His voice unconsciously became louder and reverberated in the quiet living room. Yenjika waited until midnight just to say happy birthday to me. I'm so happy. She was adjusting her biological clock to get used to waking up early to exercise. Without me, no one will celebrate your birthday for you? Yenjika asked with a smile. Lu Qing was afraid that he would wake others up, so he put on his clothes with difficulty while holding his phone. He groped for the balcony. I haven't officially celebrated my birthday since elementary school, but my parents will remember to cook me a bowl of longevity noodles. His family was poor in middle school, so he didn't have the money to buy a birthday cake. He was used to it in high school and felt that it was childish to ask for a birthday celebration. As soon as he opened the balcony door, Lu Qing saw a shadow squatting in the corner. He immediately shouted in a low voice, "Who is it?" The shadow was scared and jumped up. She turned around and saw Lu Qing. She patted her chest and said, "Brother Lu Qing, you scared me to death." The shadow was Qi Yunfei, his cousin in the 3rd year of middle school. She was wearing pajamas with rabbit ears and a small quilted jacket. She was trembling while holding her phone. You scared me too. I thought there was a thief. Lu Qing didn't cover the receiver and said directly. Qi Yunfei exhaled and said, "Is there a thief as cute as me?" My boyfriend called and I was afraid to wake Xiao Xiao up, so I came out to the balcony to talk. She looked at Lu Qing and moved her eyebrows. She snickered. It seems that you are also a thief. Yeah. Lu Qing found it funny. What a coincidence. After that, they tacitly turned their backs and each occupied a corner of the balcony to talk on the phone. What happened just now? Yenjika asked curiously. Lu Qing said with a smile, I was at my aunt's house. I was afraid to wake the people in the room, so I ran out to the balcony to talk on the phone. I bumped into my cousin. Puff, what was she doing on the balcony in the middle of the night? Yenjika laughed. Lu Qing said with a smile, puppy love. She was talking on the phone with her boyfriend. After that, he turned around and saw Qi Yunfei turn her head and stare at him. It seemed that she was saying, you are such a big mouth. You forget your sister when you see a girl. You are not loyal. Lu Qing didn't care and pretended not to see. After chatting with Yenjika for a few minutes, he was afraid that he would delay her getting up early tomorrow. So he said, can I ask for a birthday present? You can ask. It's up to me whether I approve or not. Yenjika answered with a smile. Lu Qing seemed to be able to imagine her smile. Quietly turning on the recording function, Lu Qing said excitedly, sing a birthday song for me. Humph, for the sake of your birthday. Yenjika said proudly and gently hummed the song. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. Well, what do you wish for? Hurry up and make a wish. Lu Cheng's heart was full of joy. After thinking for a while, he hinted, as the old saying goes, I only wish that there will be a day every year. You will be every year, you will be every year. That's a good wish. Yenjika's voice had a trace of a smile. Then she said quickly, I'm going to bed. You should hurry up and get up early tomorrow. Good night. Good night. Seeing that her attitude was not cold, Lu Qing felt good about himself again. After hanging up the phone, he was so happy that he wanted to scream. But with his cousin Qi Yunfei behind him, he couldn't forget himself and lose his dignity as a brother. Forcing himself to hold back, he went back to the living room and waved his arms quietly. The beginning of 19 years was so beautiful. After doing all this, he guiltily turned his head to look at the balcony. He saw Qi Yunfei was also secretly looking at him with one hand tightly covering her cheek. She also forgot herself. They looked at each other and smiled. With tacit understanding, they each made a gesture of encouragement to the other. In the next few days, Lu Qing fully enjoyed his holiday life. After getting up early to practice, he didn't have to be busy with classes and computer rooms. He didn't have to split his time in half. Besides having fun with his family and relatives, he also chatted with Yenjika, called her, and video called her. In his spare time, he read novels, surfed the internet, mingled in different groups, watched his own private forum, or found Zhang Fei and Xing Qili to play games and guide them to strengthen their bodies. His life was so comfortable that his body and mind were relaxed. The fight on the morning of the first day of the new year seemed to have happened several years ago. It no longer bothered him in his dreams. Time flew. Soon it was the 7th day of the new year. It was time to visit Director Xing. Chapter 99. Before he left, Lu Qing called Director Xing again to confirm. This was a question of courtesy. Even though Director Xing had said that he could come at any time on the 7th day of the new year, he couldn't just walk in like that. What if Director Xing hadn't woken up yet? What if Director Xing was entertaining an important guest? Lu, when are you coming? Director Xing's hearty voice came into Lu Cheng's ears as soon as the call connected. Lu Qing smiled and said, I'm just about to leave. I was worried that you might have other guests, so I called to ask. I do have other guests, but they'll leave soon. Feel free to come over. I'll let the guard know, Director Xing replied in a relaxed tone. Okay. Lu Qing hung up the phone and booked a cab. Carrying the bag of wine and tea, he went downstairs unhurriedly. He was in a strange mood. This was the first time he paid a New Year's greeting as an individual. It was as if he had stepped into society in advance and become an adult. In less than 20 minutes, he arrived at Mingshan Community on South Shuiyuan Street. After giving his name, he easily passed through the security and arrived at Unit 2, Block 3, where Director Xing lived. There was a one-staircase design here. Lu Qing didn't need to identify when he got out of the elevator. He went straight to the copper-clad door and rang the doorbell. Ding-dong sounds echoed, and the door was quickly opened. A young man walked out with half of his body and said with a smile, Director Xing, please wait. There are other guests. Xing Chengwu laughed heartily and said, be careful on your way back. Do your job well when you get back. You need to make new progress in the new year. After that, he turned to Lu Qing and said, come in. Make yourself at home. The young man looked at Lu Qing curiously, but didn't say anything. He turned and walked to the elevator. After entering the house and changing his shoes, Lu Qing noticed that Director Xing was quite a burly man. Even in casual home clothes, he couldn't hide his strong and capable temperament. Damn, I was so shocked that I didn't pay much attention to what kind of person Director Xing was. If I met him on the street, I probably wouldn't recognize him. Lu Qing wiped away the non-existent cold sweat and handed over the bag in his hand. Uncle Xing, Happy New Year. Good luck. You're just a junior. Why are you bringing gifts? I'm still wondering if I should give you your lucky money. Xing Chengwu joked and accepted the gift without hesitation. He opened it and frowned slightly. Ningxue Winery's original proof spirit and Maojian green tea? You're just a kid, why do you have to be so grand? You must have spent a lot of money, right? I didn't spend any money. I happen to have money at home, so I thought I'd offer it to you. Lu Qing put away the unfamiliarity he felt when he just walked in and answered with a smile. Xing Chengwu's brows smoothed out as he laughed. Since you didn't spend any money, I'll accept it. Not bad, you're offering Buddha with borrowed flowers. This is exactly what I want. I don't have many hobbies in my life, but I like these too. This is because an expert gave me pointers. Lu Qing made a joke. Xing Chengwu put the bag on the coffee table and gestured for Lu Qing to sit down. He asked in confusion, Master? Lu Qing smiled and said, Yenjika and I were classmates. She told me that you like to drink a cup of tea during the day and a bottle of wine at night. Xing Chengwu was pleasantly surprised. You and Young Ku are classmates? Why didn't you tell me earlier? You didn't have to find me through your master. Huh, it seems that we're fated to meet. Then I won't stand on ceremony and treat you as my nephew. Didn't I call you Uncle Xing long ago? Lu Qing said humorously. Yenjika told me that you're good at gold and jade body and modern Xingyi. He planned to leave after a few words. Otherwise, he would feel uncomfortable. After all, he wasn't very familiar with Director Xing. If he shamelessly stayed, it would only make them speechless. Yeah. Xing Chengwu said proudly. If it weren't for my gold and jade body, how could I sit and talk to you like this? I would either be paralyzed or honorably sacrificed. These words tickled his itch, and he started talking non-stop. I cultivated step by step in a proper martial arts school, and finally entered the police academy. As far as our work is concerned, this kind of physical hard body skill is the most suitable. Unlike you guys, who have referees and supervisors watching over you when you fight in the arena. If we really encounter criminals with guns or criminals with real kung fu, we can only fight with our lives on the line. Although the golden jade body can't protect us from gunshots, it can at least turn a serious injury into a minor one while avoiding the vital parts. This kind of kung fu has saved countless police officers. Lu Qing was inexperienced. It was the first time he heard about this kind of thing. He listened with great interest and echoed from time to time. It seems that Director Xing doesn't belong to the big forces. He's a martial artist trained by the country. He thought thoughtfully. While Director Xing was talking, the bedroom door creaked open. A tall, middle-aged woman with her hair tied up in a bun came out. She had delicate features and slender legs. She said coquettishly, Dad, I'm going shopping with Mom. As long as you're at home, we won't have a peaceful New Year. Several groups of people will come in an hour. Just as she finished speaking, she suddenly noticed a strange man. Her expression immediately sank and became as cold as ice, keeping people thousands of miles away. Lu Qing was too embarrassed to sit. He stood up with Director Xing and listened to Director Xing's introduction. Jingjing, this is Young Ku's classmate, the young master I mentioned last time, Lu Qing. Lu Qing, this is my daughter, Xing Jingjing. She's 2 years older than Young Ku, but only 1 year older than you. She's studying at Huahai University. She and Young Ku are best friends. Director Xing said with a smile. This is my wife. You can call her Auntie Ding. Hello, Auntie Ding. Hello, senior sister. Lu Qing didn't know how to address Xing Jingjing, so he just called her senior sister. Because of Yan Jika's warning in advance, he was a little afraid of Xing Jingjing and always worried that he would say something wrong to offend her. I heard old Xing mention you. You're a young talent with extraordinary skills. Auntie Ding said with a smile. You're Young Ku's classmate. Are you still studying? Where are you studying at? Songqing University. I'm Yan Jika's classmate. Lu Qing didn't hide it. Xing Jingjing could ask Yan Jika about this kind of thing. Auntie Ding wanted to say something more, but Xing Jingjing pulled her aside. Her action was obvious and her attitude was impatient. She seemed to be very impatient to be in the same enclosed space with Lu Cheng. You and old Xing have a good chat. We're going shopping. Auntie Ding frowned slightly and then said calmly. Lu Cheng was surprised by Xing Jingjing's behavior. He didn't say much and just said a few words out of courtesy. He didn't say anything like hooligan or pervert. Why did Xing Jingjing dislike him as if he was a cockroach? She didn't even care about the most basic courtesy. Xing Jingjing and Lu Cheng put on knee-high boots and went out. Xing Chengwu saw Lu Cheng's confusion and couldn't help but sigh. He sat down again, opened the bottle of original proof wine, and poured 2 cents into a small teacup on the table. Lu, Uncle Xing is suddenly addicted to alcohol. Do you mind if I drink a few sips? He forced a smile. Lu Cheng hurriedly replied, It's okay. You can do whatever you want. Xing Chengwu drank half a cup in one gulp and closed his eyes as if he was savoring the mellow and spicy wine. After a long time, he said, Lu, do you know what 2 kinds of gangsters we're most afraid of? No. Lu Cheng answered honestly. He didn't understand why Director Xing suddenly asked this. Xing Chengwu smiled bitterly and said, Actually, we don't have to worry too much about underworld bosses like Zhang Mingle. They are local, and their relatives and friends are all here. They have roots and foundations, and they won't cross the line when doing things. They will have scruples. Unless they are really forced, they won't do anything. And there are also those who are ruthless and like to take risks. For example, Jian Lao III. But generally speaking, they're controllable. If I could contact Jian Lao III in advance on the first day of the new year and ask him to inform the 9th pin of the dark sect to withdraw in time and leave Shushan, there wouldn't be such a big case later. After listening to Director Xing's description, Lu Cheng said thoughtfully, Uncle Xing, you're afraid of criminals who cross the border and leave after 1 or 2 cases? Xing Chengwu nodded slightly and said, Yes. These criminals are used to roaming around and have no scruples. They dare to commit big cases and are not afraid of future troubles. Take that 9th pin of the dark sect for example. After all, as long as he doesn't get photographed and doesn't leave any obvious traces, once he escapes, it'll be very difficult to find him again. After all, we don't even know who he is, let alone whether he has other criminal records. Speaking of this, he took another sip of wine and looked a little absent-minded. There's another kind. They're teenagers who have enough ability to cause trouble but lack family and school education. If they're still under the protection of the law, they're even more daring and dare to cause trouble even under the sky. And their crimes are more on the spur of the moment, unlike vendetta or love killings, which are always foreshadowed. When they encounter this kind of people, even the gods can't guard against them. In order to train their courage, they dare to kill passers-by. After watching a film and wanting to find a girl, they dare to take advantage of the dark to kidnap her on the road. Seeing that Director Xing's expression was not right, Lu Cheng suddenly remembered something from the past, something he had talked about with Yan Jika. When he was in his 2nd year of high school, there was an attempted rape case on the way home from school. There were various versions of it, scaring the girls. The male students organized a group and volunteered to send some of the female students who didn't live in school home. Xing Jingjing's extreme attitude towards hooligans and perverts. Director Xing's behavior. Could it be that she was the victim? Looking at Director Xing bitterly drinking wine, he suddenly felt some sympathy and pity. As a person who had a say in Shoshan, and as the deputy director of the police station to crack down on crime, when faced with accidents, there were also times when he felt powerless and painful and self-reproachful. He was also a human being. He could also be negligent. He also had pain and sorrow. Xing Chengwu didn't expect Lu Cheng to have guessed the whole story. After calming down, he changed the topic and said with a smile, Lu, practice martial arts well. You can only protect your family and friends at critical moments. My Jingjing used to hate the police and practicing martial arts because I was not at home for many years. Now she understands. She joined the martial arts club in Huahai University. Maybe you can meet in the National University Martial Arts competition in the future. Uncle Xing, don't worry. I plan to make martial arts my future. Lu Qing answered sincerely. After chatting for a while, he left. Director Xing didn't ask him to stay. In the next few days, Lu Qing left this matter behind and continued his leisurely holiday life. In the blink of an eye, the day of school was approaching. Chapter 100. Thinking of the new martial arts mentioned by Geezer Shi, the upcoming preliminaries, and the fact that he would become one of the pillars of the martial arts club. More importantly, he thought of Yan Jika, whom he had not seen for the whole winter vacation. It was the first time that Lu Qing was so eager to start school. A day without seeing each other felt like 3 years. How many days and nights had it been? Even the constant chatting, phone calls, and video calls couldn't compare to having a living girl by his side. He couldn't wait to buy a ticket and get on the train to Songcheng. But before that, he had to wait for a message and confirm a premise. I'm in the dormitory. I'm going to pack now. Yan Jika sent an emoji. When did you get on the train? Didn't you book a ticket again? Lu Qing was delighted and answered without hesitation, yes, tonight. I'll be there tomorrow morning. He knew that Yan Jika was flying to Songcheng today, so he booked the train ticket for tonight. But in case the plane was delayed or cancelled, he was ready to change the ticket at any time. So he didn't tell Yan Jika that he had booked a ticket. The action officially started. The action of bringing Shushan delicacies to his beloved girl. While Yan Jika was packing and cleaning the dormitory, he put in his wallet, grabbed his keys, and left the dormitory in a hurry. Hey, Cheng, are you having dinner at home tonight? His mother, Chi Fong, looked at his back and shouted. Yes. Lu Qing answered from a distance. He didn't stop and walked to the entrance of the community. It was 3:00 in the afternoon. He had to hurry, or the braised quail eggs and steamed beef pies would be gone. A few minutes later, the online taxi arrived. He opened the door and threw himself in, throwing out a sentence, Old Xinhua bookstore. More than 20 minutes later, Lu Qing finally arrived at the entrance of the Old Xinhua bookstore. Seeing that the stall selling braised quail eggs was still there, he immediately felt relieved. He took a few big strides forward, glanced at it and blurted out, I'll buy one. It wasn't that he didn't want to bring more, but he had to consider the capacity of the insulated lunchbox. Although it was a large one, there were other things, right? The reason why he had waited until the last moment was to ensure that the food would still be in its best condition when it was delivered to Yan Jika. It tasted 70 to 80% normal. In order to confirm whether these stores would be open and when they would be sold out, he had checked the time twice and rehearsed the route. If Yan Jika had arrived in Songcheng 2 hours later today, he would have changed the ticket to tomorrow night. The stall owner glanced at him and muttered, Young man, only one serving? That being said, his hands didn't slow down. He opened the small food bag and filled it to the brim. Lu Qing took the money and ran away, stopping a taxi that had been waiting for him. He shouted without panting, "Number 1 middle school's back door." This time, he didn't run into a traffic jam. 10 minutes later, he saw the familiar back school gate and snack street. He grabbed the change and walked quickly to the cart selling steamed beef pies. Lu Qing. Lu Cheng's Lu. Then he carefully recalled Yan's that. And emphasized. Don't put green onions. Okay. The stall owner was a middle-aged man. He poured the top 4 boxes of steamed beef into a basin and skillfully added seasonings. Looking at his movements, Lu Qing felt like he was back in high school. During the 10-minute break between classes, the back door was closed. He waited for the students to take the money and waved to the stall owner through the iron bars, shouting how many servings he wanted. He only needed to put on the prison uniform to sing "Tears Behind Bars" loudly. The steamed beef pies in this shop were not only missed by the graduates of the number 1 middle school because of its geographical location, but also its taste was rare. He had tried the steamed beef pies in different famous stores in several places. Although he felt that the beef and the steamed beef were both delicious, the meat was always dead and not lively enough. He wasn't a gourmet. This was his own intuition. He couldn't use more accurate words to describe it. But the steamed beef pies in this shop were bouncy, fragrant, smooth, and tender. Every small piece seemed to have a life of its own. Chow Lele, who once said she didn't like steamed beef, broke her rule and praised it. According to what he heard, they made the steamed beef with deboned beef. They gave up the appearance of big pieces in exchange for the lively taste. The white pies used to hold the beef pies were made with the best ingredients and had a sweet aftertaste. They could whet people's appetite without anything else. While thinking, Lu Qing saw the stall owner grab a handful of green onions and shake them down. Green onions? He suddenly came back to himself and stared at the stall owner. Didn't you say you don't want green onions? The stall owner was embarrassed. Sorry. It was too smooth. You see, I haven't mixed it well. Just a little bit. I'll pick it out. Lu Cheng was annoyed and amused at the same time. Forget it. Give me these 2 as well. I'll eat them myself. Also, give me 2 more that don't need onions. Remember, don't need onions. Okay. The stall owner was relieved and became more focused. He first gave the 2 with green onions to Lu Qing and then mixed the steamed beef pies without green onions. Lu Qing stared at the stall owner like a tiger watching its prey, ready to attack if the stall owner put in green onions. He took a bite of the pies and felt the familiar bouncy, tender, and smooth texture in his mouth. It was so delicious that he wanted to cry. He wolfed down the 2 pies in a few bites, as if he hadn't eaten them for years. But in fact, he had only eaten 4 pies when he came for the exercise yesterday. After confirming that there were no green onions, he took out the money and handed it to the stall owner. He grabbed the food bag with the pies and turned to rush out of the snack street. He called for a taxi while walking. Next destination, Wang's Rice Noodles. 10 minutes later, he appeared at the door of Wang's Rice Noodles. He looked at the window of the restaurant and saw that the steamer was still there. He was completely relieved. He was only 1 step away from the perfect completion of the mission. Wang's Rice Noodles was originally an imitation of Crossing Bridge rice noodles. But after years of operation, they gradually integrated Shushan characteristics. They boiled the soup base in a clay pot and served the noodles after cooking. The soup was their specialty, with a long aftertaste and both sweetness and freshness. And the glutinous rice cake was white and plump. It was tender, smooth, and sweet. Because it was wrapped in zongzi leaves and steamed, it had a little bit of serenity. 2. Lu Qing said to the waiter with a smile. After buying the glutinous rice cake, it was only 4:10. According to the exercise, he went straight home by taxi. He sneaked into his room and took out the small vacuum machine and the corresponding bags. He put the steamed beef pies, braised quail eggs, and glutinous rice cakes into different bags, vacuumed them, sealed them, and stuffed them into different layers of the large thermal lunchbox he bought. While doing this, he was still chatting with Yan Zhika and didn't expose his actions. Seeing that it was still early at 6 o'clock, he came out and said to Qi Fang, "Mom, I'm taking the train tonight." Qi Fang, who was sitting on the sofa and watching TV, suddenly jumped up. "Why are you leaving so suddenly? When I asked you when you would go to school, you always said that it wasn't decided yet. Why are you leaving now? The martial arts club needs special training in advance." Lu Qing lied a little. Qi Fang frowned and said, "I said that I would make a big meal for you before you leave. But there are no dishes today. Hey, I'll go to the supermarket." After saying this, she rushed out of the door without waiting for Lu Cheng's reply. Looking at his mom's back with guilt, Lu Cheng waited for time to pass. At 5:45, he called his mom to get in the car and rushed out of the door again. When he arrived at Old Lou's barbecue in the old city area, he had just opened the door and was setting up the barbecue rack. "Take away 2 eggplants, no scallions," Lu Qing emphasized. "Okay, sit down and wait for a while," Old Lu said with a smile. After waiting for a while, he saw that Old Lu was about to take the eggplants in and fry them. Lu Qing couldn't help but remind him again, "Don't put scallions." Old Lu laughed and said, "Why are you so long-winded?" "I remember." Okay. Lu Qing couldn't help but laugh at himself. But when he saw Old Lu's back disappear at the kitchen door, he subconsciously shouted again, "Don't put scallions." A few minutes later, Old Lu came out with a biodegradable disposable lunch box and said grumpily, "Here, your eggplants are gone. Put them." "Scallions." Thank you. Lu Qing didn't care. He quickly paid the money and left the place with light steps. When he got home, while his mom was cooking in the kitchen, he put the eggplants together with the seasonings and oil into the corresponding bag, vacuumed it, sealed it, and put it in the bottom layer of the insulated lunchbox. After closing the lunchbox, he exhaled and his face was full of joy. Double protection, there should be no problem. Besides, he was taking the train tonight and would arrive at 6:00 tomorrow morning. After one night, there might still be some heat left. At around 10:00 at night, carrying his luggage and the disguised insulated lunchbox, he said goodbye to his mom and dad and started his journey again. He took the black car to the train station. After waiting for an hour, Yenjika had already fallen asleep. Finally, the train arrived and he found his seat. After stuffing his backpack into the luggage rack, he looked at the insulated lunchbox in his hand and felt that it wasn't safe to put it on. What if it shook off? If he put it on the small table, he wouldn't be in the innermost position. It would be inconvenient for others to come in and out, and it would disturb his sleep. After thinking carefully, he held the insulated lunchbox in his arms, adjusted the seat, closed his eyes and prepared to sleep. Yenjika would be surprised to see this, wouldn't she? Would she be moved? Although the spring festival cost a lot, with the New Year's money given by relatives and my original savings, I still have more than 16,000 yuan. It's enough for a private date, sigh, after the preliminaries, plus the schedule of classes. I have very little time to date every week, but I can be Yenjika's training partner, hee. I wonder how far away I am from Lin K now, in his imagination, in his expectation, in his anxiety, and in his worry. Lu Qing held the large lunchbox tightly and slowly fell asleep. The last clear thought in his mind was, "Songqing, I'm here again." Chapter 101. At 5:30 in the morning, Lu Qing woke up naturally. Outside the window, the night sky was as dark as ink, dotted with stars. Subconsciously, he checked the thermal lunchbox to make sure there was nothing wrong with it. Then he went to the bathroom to relieve the pressure on his bladder, wash his face, and rinse his mouth. When he came back, he turned on his phone, logged into QQ, held the lunchbox tight, closed his eyes again, and meditated to practice condensation stance, seizing every minute and second. After more than 20 minutes, the beeping sound of a message came. Lu Qing took it out and saw Yenjika's struggling emoji with a red ribbon on her head. The pretty one is already up. She's copying what I used to say. He couldn't help but laugh in a low voice. He quickly replied, "I'm the one who got up first." After a few words of greeting, Yenjika went out for her morning exercise. He had been holding back the fact that he had brought delicious food in advance. How could he be happy without being surprised? At 6:13, the train arrived at Songqing North Station. Lu Qing carried his luggage and lunchbox, and moved away along with the crowd. It was a little bright outside, and the damp and cold air hit his face. At this time, there were basically no online taxis available. Taxis would complain that Songqing University was too close to the old campus and wouldn't make much money, so they wouldn't take passengers. Lu Qing went to a nearby bus station, waited for a while, and then got on the first bus. It was empty, and there were no more than 5 people including him and the driver. He didn't find a seat, but stood on the spacious ground at the back door, with his feet apart, and meditated. He felt the start, stop, and bumpy of the bus, constantly adjusting his center of gravity and practicing yin-yang stance. Martial arts in daily life. After a few stops, Lu Qing arrived at the old campus of Songqing University. He went to the school bus station with familiarity and waited for the first bus to go to the new campus. While waiting, he put his backpack and insulated lunchbox in a clean place, took off his down jacket, and put it on top. He wore a sweater and casual trousers. Like an old man or woman practicing Tai Chi, he slowly practiced every move, using the training routine to temper most of his body. He turned a blind eye to the curious and amused gazes of the few people around him who were waiting for the bus. Half a year could change a person. He no longer had any shyness about practicing martial arts, or lack of confidence in front of others. At 6:40 a.m., the first school bus opened on time and headed for the new district in the suburbs. Lu Qing played out the big and small hand wrap in his mind, competing with himself. The ripples of Weishui Lake reflected the surrounding trees and mountains, as well as the reflections of the brightly lit teaching buildings. This familiar scene made Lu Qing feel more at ease, more settled, and a sense of belonging grew within him. Early in the morning, it was chilly. Facing the spring chill, he walked on the pedestrian street in groups of 3s and 4s. For many students of Songqing University, this was the last stage of recitation and preparation for self-study at 7:20 a.m. Dorm 302, Unit 2, Building 7. Lu Qing took out his keys and opened 2 doors. When he entered the small room, Zhao Chang, Qiu Zhigao, and Zhang Jingye were no longer there. Everything was neatly arranged. It was obvious that they had gone to the cafeteria for breakfast and started a day of self-study. In the small dormitory next door, the sound of snoring was faintly audible. Little Ming must have played online games with them for a long time last night. Lu Qing thought to himself. He put down his luggage and opened the thermal lunch box. He found a pair of scissors and cut open the bags one by one, pouring them into different layers that could be taken out. It's really warm. Just a little heat in the microwave will do. Braised quail eggs can't be heated like this, but it's barely edible. He checked and rearranged the thermal lunch box. Carrying it, he went out excitedly and nervously. He went to a cafeteria near the girls' dormitory and found the microwave for heating food. He occupied a seat next to it and waited patiently for Yan Zhika to finish her morning exercise. While waiting, his mind was full of thoughts and he couldn't calm down. His heart beat faster and faster. He was even more nervous than when he entered the ring for the first time. What should I say later? Just say that I brought the glutinous rice cake and ask her to come here. It's the easiest kind of cake to bring but also the least sincere one. She should be surprised when she sees the rest. Should I take the opportunity to say something? Well, what should I say? If she subconsciously asks, do you still remember? I should say, I remember everything you told me. No, little Ming said that before the girl makes the final decision, I can't give her too obvious hints. That will give her pressure and make her uncomfortable, resulting in the opposite effect. Then I should change my wording and tone and say, of course I remember everything you told me. It's a little suggestive, but not too obvious. Well, I should also pay attention to my breathing. It can't be too fast or too nervous. It has to be calm, and generous. Lu Cheng's thoughts were running fast. He designed different scenes and thought about different dialogues. He deliberated and practiced repeatedly, even taking the breathing rhythm into consideration. In the end, he couldn't sit still anymore. He stood up and paced back and forth as if Yan Zhika was standing in front of him. He kept practicing, striving to perform perfectly and leave the girl with the best impression. At 8:00, Yan Zhika finished her morning exercise and began to chat with him intermittently. After confirming that she had taken a shower with hot water, Lu Qing took a deep breath and sent a snickering emoji. I brought you a glutinous rice cake. Come and eat. Yan Zhika sent a surprised emoji covering its mouth. You really brought a glutinous rice cake? Hee, not bad. You still remember me, Coach Yen. Good, I'm hungry. Where are you? The microwave in the cafeteria. Lu Cheng held back his excitement and answered. He quickly put the roasted eggplant, steamed beef pancake, and glutinous rice cake into the cafeteria. After a short while, he placed them one by one on the table in the cafeteria. He stood behind the food and looked at the entrance. Thump, 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 thump. His heart beat like a drum and his blood rushed into his brain, making him tremble slightly. He recalled what he had practiced repeatedly just now. After a short while, a beautiful figure that he had been thinking about day and night appeared at the entrance. Yenjika was wearing a white sweater, a plain long-down jacket, dark jeans, and snow boots. She attracted the attention of passers-by. She stood there, looking around in confusion, looking for traces. Her head was slightly tilted, and her black hair cascaded down like a waterfall. She was so beautiful that Lu Cheng was in a trance. He almost forgot the breathing that he had practiced. Finally, she confirmed the location of the microwave oven and saw Lu Cheng. Her lips curled into a faint smile. She raised her right hand, signaled him, and quickly approached him. Lu Cheng hurriedly took 2 steps forward and met her at the table. Yenjika opened her pink lips and was about to say something when she suddenly saw the 4 delicacies on the table. Old Lu's roasted eggplant, steamed beef pancake, Wang's glutinous rice cake, braised quail egg, and 3 steaming dishes in front of her. She pouted and opened her mouth, forming a cute O shape. She immediately raised her right hand and covered her mouth. She turned her head and looked in the opposite direction. She swayed her long hair, leaving only a side profile of her face to Lu Cheng. Her nose was straight, her face was rosy, and her skin was soft and smooth. Her long eyelashes drooped down and covered her eyes. After a short silence, she turned her head and looked at Lu Cheng up and down. There seemed to be thousands of bright stars hidden in her eyes. Lu Cheng had always heard that the eyes were the window to the soul and could see other people's emotions. But at this time, he could only read the surprise and joy in Yenjika's eyes. As for the rest, it was too complicated to say. Yenjika put down her right hand and lowered her head. She said with a smile, "You really brought all of them here." "Yes, I said I would repay Coach Yan's kindness. After all, you are my life mentor." Lu Cheng just blurted out the answer and wanted to slap himself. What the hell was he talking about? It was completely different from the repeated practice just now. His mind was a little blank. He felt that his body was stiff and he couldn't perform well. Then he heard Yenjika's chuckle and saw her pursing her lips and smiling eyes. She seemed to be amused. Yenjika turned her head and looked to the side again. She said as if nothing had happened. "You eat with me." "I can't eat so much. It won't taste good when it gets cold." "Okay." Lu Cheng was delighted. He hated that the tables and chairs in the cafeteria were fixed together, so he couldn't pull out a chair for a girl. When he just sat down, he suddenly remembered something. He hurriedly stood up and said with annoyance, "Chopsticks. Chopsticks." He forgot to pick up chopsticks. Now he was going to lose points again. He didn't dare to look at Yenjika and hurried to the window. He heard the girl's faint laughter behind him. Picking up the chopsticks, he mentally prepared himself and turned back. He saw Yenjika looking at him with a smile, without any disgust or disgust. Heaving a sigh of relief, a smile naturally appeared on his face. He quickly walked back and handed the chopsticks to the girl. Sitting opposite her, he watched as she elegantly picked up a piece of eggplant. Her neat white teeth were slightly exposed as she delicately ate it in small bites. Her black and long thin eyebrows relaxed, revealing a bit of satisfaction. There was a different kind of beauty. Lu Cheng couldn't get enough of her. He kept peeking at her secretly and took every opportunity to look. Yenjika's delight in the food was like her affirmation of him, filling him with a strong sense of satisfaction. Suddenly, Yenjika raised her head and looked at him with her clear eyes. She caught his peeking eyes. Subconsciously, Lu Cheng looked to the side and picked up the chopsticks. He casually picked up a pea and stuffed it into his mouth to hide it. Yenjika seemed to have eaten too much. Her cheeks were slightly red. She lowered her head again and said with a faint smile, Coach sure sent an email to all the members of the martial arts club, saying that this semester's martial arts class will start on time the day after tomorrow. As for the special training, it will start tomorrow if everyone is here. If not, it will be the day after tomorrow. Wait for the notice. Have you read it? Lu Cheng was at a loss at first. He was stunned for a while and then came to his senses. Yes. We'll talk about the preliminaries then. The long-distance communication during the holiday made him a little nervous and uncomfortable when he was with Yenjika in person. He didn't know how to chat with her. Fortunately, she started the topic first. Following the matter of the martial arts club, he showed his true colors when communicating online and didn't let the atmosphere become awkward. Unconsciously, Yenjika put down her chopsticks. There was only a little residue left in the different layers of the lunchbox in front of her. Of course, part of it was Lu Cheng's contribution. But he was too busy looking at the girl opposite him, intoxicated by her every frown and smile, to eat without tasting anything. I can't believe I ate so much. Will I get fat? Yenjika said worriedly. Lu Cheng hurried to comfort her. You won't. You are practicing martial arts. You consume a lot of energy. You need to eat more. Yenjika nodded slightly and glanced at the thermal lunchbox. It's so effective. I think the braised quail egg is still warm. It's not cold. It's a little better than I expected. Lu Cheng beamed as if he was praised. After chatting for a while, he assembled the lunchbox and sent Yenjika back to the dormitory. The two walked side by side. Lu Cheng smelled a faint fragrance, which stirred his soul and made him feel like he was in a fairyland. He didn't know if it was the smell of her shampoo or the fragrance of her body. Amidst all kinds of uncontrollable thoughts, he quietly sized her up again. He saw her jade-like white hair, small and delicate ears, and her mouth running like a train, talking about random topics. Soon, they arrived at the door of the third building where Yenjika was. When they were about to say goodbye, Lu Cheng suddenly thought of something. He looked forward to it and asked worriedly, Didn't I say I would treat you to a big meal to repay your good character? When will you be free? She won't go back on her words. I should be able to ask her out. Yenjika looked to the side, pursed her lips and smiled. Then you have to make a good strategy. You can't take me to a bad meal. Strategy. Lu Cheng was stunned for a moment, and then he realized that the girl had agreed. His mind buzzed and his heart was filled with joy. He hurriedly said, Okay, I'll make a strategy as soon as possible. No, right away. Well, I'll go back first. I still have to work on the winter vacation investigation report. Yenjika didn't look back. She waved her hand and stepped into the door of the third building. Lu Cheng stood outside the door, restless and happy. He watched Yenjika's back as she walked to the entrance of the building. Her hair reached her vest. Her hair was so good, she should be 165 meters tall. Her proportions were so good. Her legs were so long and straight. While he was thinking about it, he suddenly saw the girl turn her head. This scared him. He was afraid that she would find out about his lecherous look. Seeing his bewildered look, Yenjika rolled her eyes and smiled sweetly. Lu Cheng's mind seemed to explode. He stared at her and for the first time deeply understood the ancient poem, looking back with a smile, 100 charms appear. He didn't wake up until the girl disappeared at the entrance of the building. He was excited and restless. What should I do next? Could it be that he could take advantage of the private meeting to try and hold her hand while crossing the road? He couldn't calm down and planned to go back to ask Kai Xiaoming for advice. When he entered the dormitory, before he knocked on the door of the opposite room, Kai Zhongming jumped out with a black hero's bandana wrapped around his head. What are you doing? Lu Cheng was shocked. Kai Zongming said, seriously, Kai Zongming, am not convinced by your strength. Chapter 102. Pfft. Lu Cheng almost burst out laughing. He replied with internet slang, what? You want to rebel? Kai Zongming's aura flared up, but it immediately deflated. He said impatiently, I'm showing my determination. Do you understand? Determination. Wait until I participate in the special training this semester. I'll compete with you before the summer break. Okay, I'll wait and see. Lu Cheng didn't harp on this matter and went straight to the point. He looked around and said in a low voice, Talker, let's go to the balcony. I have something to ask you. Kai Zongming took off the hero's headband on his forehead and said, You and your goddess have made a breakthrough. You want me to tell you what to do next? F***CK, how did you guess? Lu Cheng was shocked. Kai Zongming clicked his tongue. Your face is full of lust. It's almost written on your forehead. Lu Cheng touched his face and laughed dryly. Is it that obvious? While talking, the two came to the balcony and closed the glass door to the living room, isolating them from the outside world. Lu Cheng was about to say something when Kai Zongming said cheekily, Since we're here to talk, I feel like I should smoke. Why don't you pretend to give me one and I'll pretend to smoke a few puffs? Heh. Lu Cheng looked at him with disdain. He took out an air cigarette from his pocket and passed it over. Come, Casanova, have a smoke. Sure, Kai Zongming took the cigarette with a smile and put it in his mouth. Just as he was about to light the cigarette, Lu Cheng said with a smile, I have a fire. I'll light it for you. Not bad. You have a good eye. Kai Zongming praised. He leaned his head forward and pretended to wait for someone to light his cigarette. Lu Cheng held back his laughter, reached out his right hand, and snapped his fingers in front of Kai Zongming. Pa! A flame appeared and burned 2 strands of Kai Zongming's hair. Damn! Kai Zongming blurted out. The flame seemed to be still in his eyes. You know how to do magic now? Magic? Have you ever seen such a cool magic? Lu Cheng snapped his fingers again, and flames appeared one after another. Kai Zongming touched a few strands of hair on his forehead, and his expression changed continuously. Cheng, I have to change what I said about fighting you before the summer break. How dare you use your supernatural ability to bully others? Lu Cheng snickered. How? You're not thinking of backing out at the last minute, are you? How could that be? This is a man's promise, and I have to keep it. Kai Zongming said righteously, but you have to tie up one of your hands. That's only fair. Okay. I'll only use one hand. Lu Cheng said happily. At this time, Kai Zongming finally recovered and asked in surprise and curiosity, When did you awaken your superpower? Isn't it amazing? Didn't you watch the video of my fight with Yi Yaoding? Lu Cheng asked. Kai Zongming suddenly understood and said, That scene. I can't really remember the other matches, but that was the one that left the deepest impression. That girl wasn't bad. So your final burst of power was a byproduct of your awakening. Well, it's not amazing at the moment. I'm still developing and improving it slowly. It can only be used to light a cigarette. Lu Cheng described the power of his supernatural ability truthfully. As for developing and improving it, it was inevitable. When he had the physical quality of a professional ninth pin, he would try to squeeze the Jin Dan out of it. He would digest it little by little without exceeding the level of the challenge tournament. Kai Zongming touched his chin and glanced at Lu Cheng. You've changed a lot in just half a year. I always feel that you've encountered something unscientific. Lu Cheng laughed dryly and changed the topic. I've asked Yenjika out for a big meal in a few days. Casanova, do you think we'll have a chance to hold hands? Because he hadn't made a strategy, hadn't decided on a restaurant, and hadn't set a date yet. Hold hands? Kai Zongming was confused. What level are you at? If you don't tell me clearly, I can't judge. Lu Qing recalled and said, as long as we're free, we chat on QQ from waking up to sleeping. Sometimes we talk on the phone or video. On my birthday, she waited until midnight to call me. When I asked for a birthday song as a gift, she sang it. Today, I brought her some of her favorite food. She was so surprised and happy that she agreed to have a big meal with me. After that, he looked at Kai Zongming, waiting for his comments and advice. But he found that Casanova's mouth was half open and his face was full of confusion. Casanova? Lu Qing waved his hand in front of Kai Zongming. Kai Zongming shrank back and said in surprise, how did you progress so fast? What happened in the middle? I remember that you were still friends before the holidays. You didn't spend much time on QQ. With your character, it's impossible for you to improve by leaps and bounds. Seeing that even the veteran was shocked by his progress, Lu Qing was delighted. I think that the breakthrough in our relationship was during the Warrior Sage Challenge tournament. Because of our common interest in martial arts, my inexperience in the challenge tournament for the first time, and some surprising experiences after that, the gap between us was greatly shortened, Kai Zongming said thoughtfully, no wonder. I've always thought that your goddess was the type that was hard to get. Otherwise, it wouldn't be your turn to court her. I was prepared for a long battle with you. I didn't expect that with the help of the challenge tournament, you would seize the opportunity. Lu Qing didn't mind his words. His eyes lit up and he said, you mean she likes me too? Kai Zongming smiled slightly and said, don't be so direct. Girls are very complicated. I can only say that she definitely has feelings for you. As to what extent, I'm not a roundworm in her stomach and I don't have first-hand reaction to judge. How can I know? But this is also a very dangerous period. Making the decision to date is a very important and cautious thing for most girls, especially those who are more conservative. Don't give her too much pressure, or it will only cause reverse psychology and her feelings for you will quickly decrease. But you can't be ambiguous and can't not show off. If this situation drags on for another year or so, you will be running all the way in the direction of male best friends. You can only wait for the day to come when you can pick her up. After hearing what you said, I'm nervous again. Lu Qing gasped. Kai Zongming smiled and said, don't be nervous. You're almost at the competition point. Perform well and you will have a chance. Besides, don't you have me as your solid backing? Why does this sound a little disgusting? A solid backing. Lu Qing made a joke to ease his anxiety. I think I understand now. Your goddess must have been focused on her studies in junior high and didn't think about dating at all. No matter how many excellent suitors there were, she wouldn't have taken a second look at them. If you had tried at that time, even if you had the same experience in the Warrior Sage Challenge tournament, in my opinion, the chances were close to zero. But when she entered university and felt that she was an adult, the pressure of studying wasn't that great. Subconsciously, she began to look forward to love and her heart cracked. Then you bumped into her. Kai Zongming analyzed with great interest. Lu Qing listened with admiration and said, the first half of your description is very similar to what Yan Zhika said herself. Classmate killer. Kai Zongming first smiled and then sighed like an experienced driver. This is meeting the right person at the right time. Then if I ask her out, I won't try to hold her hand to avoid giving her too much pressure. Lu Qing returned to the topic and said his own thoughts. Kai Zongming laughed and said, you want to hold hands the first time you ask her out alone? Are you trying to leave an impression in her heart that you're a horny monkey? Holding hands is more important than kissing. It's the key point of quantitative change to qualitative change. Once you succeed in holding hands, it means the relationship is confirmed. Kissing and the rest is just a matter of time. Of course, if you just want to have sex, pretend I didn't say anything. Lu Qing suddenly understood and said, so holding hands is so important. Casanova, what do you think I should do on that day? You should behave as you should. You should know that she is also very nervous. Try to create a familiar atmosphere. At this point, Kai Zongming suddenly chuckled and said, "Also, I will teach you one more move." "What?" Lu Qing said excitedly. Kai Zongming coughed twice and said, "Since she agreed to go out with you privately, she should have some expectations in her heart. If you really don't do anything, she may be disappointed and worried about her gains and losses. She may wonder if your feelings for her have not reached a certain level. You have to do something, but don't make her nervous and stressed." "What should I do?" Lu Qing asked. Kai Zongming smiled and said, "Find a chance to hold her hand, but don't really do it. Show a kind of excitement, expectation, jerkiness, and nervousness. Pretend that nothing is wrong. After failing twice, give up in frustration. Let her feel your feelings, but also keep the tension and stress from exceeding the limit. Even if in her heart, the relationship between you two hasn't reached the point of holding hands, there will be a limit to the decline of her feelings. After all, if you haven't really held hands, you can still continue to flirt and add fuel to the fire. After this, come back and observe her attitude. If there's no change, then there's more than a 70% chance of success. If there's a little indifference, it means that you haven't reached the right level and still have to work hard. If it's the former, try to ask her out after a while. If she really does accept, it means that she's mentally prepared. Boldly find a chance to hold hands." Lu Qing was stunned and felt that little Ming was really a genius. After a long time, he said, "Have you tried this trick?" Kai Zongming spread his hands and said, "Of course not." Lu Cheng's mouth twitched a few times. "Then why did you teach me? Do you think I need to use this kind of probing technique? With my vision, experience, and level, do you think I can't grasp when to hold hands?" Kai Zongming said proudly, "Don't worry. In the name of a Casanova, that trick will definitely work. Of course, if the other party is the slow type and doesn't notice your intention to hold hands, then I can't do anything. Also, you have to observe the situation. If the atmosphere is good enough and the reaction is right, then you can turn it into reality and hold hands for real." Lu Qing frowned. "Do you think a newbie like me can grasp such a complicated thing? Your true colors are more or less enough." Kai Zongming mocked him. His true colors were that he was inexperienced, nervous, and wanted to pretend as if nothing had happened. Lu Qing didn't refute. He nodded slightly and confirmed the plan. In the end, he said, "Is Qin Mo here? I need to make a gourmet guide. He's a Songqing local. It's better to ask him than to search online. He's still sleeping. You can wait until noon." Kai Zongming patted Lu Cheng's shoulder and made a gesture of encouragement. He opened the glass door and returned to the living room. Lu Cheng took out his phone and called Geyser. "Master, I'm back at the dormitory." Geyser scolded jokingly, "You're finally willing to come back? Well, everyone's here. We'll start the special training at 8 a.m. tomorrow. You'll wake up at 5:30 a.m. as usual and wait for me at the usual place." "Okay." Lu Qing didn't hesitate. It was time to start the martial arts training from morning to noon again, but now I'm no longer an ignorant person. Chapter 103. Lu Qing spent the whole morning changing, washing, and chatting with Yan Zhika. When the door of the dormitory next door opened, he jumped in and found Qin Mo, who was sleeping on the bed opposite Kai Zongming. Qin Mo was a local rich second generation, but he was not like Tao Xiaofei, who was a playboy. He had self-control and was smart enough. He wore a pair of gold-rimmed glasses, was tall and thin, and had sparse eyes. He was the standard model of a refined beast. "Qin Mo, I want to ask you something," Lu Qing said with a smile. Kai Zongming, who was chatting with his girlfriend, stopped and looked back with a face full of gossip. Qin Mo pushed his glasses and asked in surprise, "What's the matter?" "I've been in Songqing for half a year, but I haven't seen this place before. I want to try out the local delicacies. What do you recommend?" Lu Qing found a random reason and made his request clear. Qin Mo's face was full of realization. Oh, are you chasing a girl? Why do you say that? Lu Qing asked in surprise. Kai Zongming couldn't help but laugh. Qin Mo laughed. If you don't go with a girl, do you want to find a group of men? Or be a lonely gourmet? Then I'll mourn for you for 5 minutes. Okay, get to the point. Lu Qing urged with a dry laugh. Qin Mo thought for a while and said, don't go to Joshi Street. It used to be okay, but after it became famous, it became a place to fool tourists. I'll tell you which one I want. You choose your own taste. Some things are really not to your liking, okay? Lu Qing put on the posture of a primary school student and recorded the names, addresses, and specialties of the restaurants Qin Mo mentioned in his phone memo. After 10 minutes, looking at the densely packed record, he was full of achievement. He sighed and said, I'll go online to check the reviews and confirm the taste. Finally, I'll go check out 2 or 3 restaurants in the next few days. Check out? Qin Mo was a little confused. Kai Zongming knew Lu Qing quite well. He chuckled and said, he's going to try the food first to make sure his goddess is satisfied. Lu Qing added a little embarrassedly, I'm from the same place as her, and I like the local specialties that she likes. In terms of taste, we should be relatively similar. If I've eaten it and it's not bad, then there's no problem. Moreover, the point of being on the lookout isn't just to taste the food. You also have to understand the surrounding situation. For example, if there's a cake shop, if there's a variety of cake she likes in the cake shop, if she can eat it for breakfast the next day, if there's a coffee shop or a quieter place to kill time, if the cinema is far away, if there's a movie that's suitable for girls to watch recently. In short, you have to be familiar with the surroundings so that you won't have to lead her astray if you really want to go somewhere. Qin Mo was stunned. So that's what you mean. Cheng, I have to say, I don't even dare to mention that I've pursued a girl before because of your efforts. When he was in middle school and high school, he was actually very attentive to the girls he liked, but he had never been like Lu Qing. Of course, this was mainly because of the difference in their personalities and attitudes, not because of the sincerity of their feelings. On the other hand, Xiao Ming, who was sitting opposite him, started to mock him. He's making up for his lack of talent through hard work. It's fine as long as he can make up for it. Lu Qing didn't care at all. He grinned and said, don't you always say that what girls care about is the intention and attitude? My attitude is good enough, right? Kai Zongming snorted. It's quite good, but the girl doesn't know. You've spent so much effort and thought so much. What's the use if she doesn't know? I've never thought of letting her know. I just want her to eat to her satisfaction, have fun, and be happy. Lu Qing said blankly. Hey, Cheng, when it comes to pursuing a girl, you can't just say it and not do it, but you can't just do it and not say it either. You've spent so much effort, of course you have to let the girl know. Only when she's moved will it be valuable. Beside them, Qin Mo and Kai Zongming had the same opinion. Lu Qing frowned and said, but I can't say it directly to her. It feels very superficial and hypocritical. Kai Zongming chuckled. Who told you to say it directly? If you talk about Tai Bai and Tai Lu, it will lose its hazy beauty. Forcefully make the other party feel touched, and it will make her feel more pressured. Well, when she asks you about the relevant matters, just casually mention that you're on time for the date. That's all. Leave the rest to her imagination. Imagination is the most beautiful and the most touching. Damn, talker, your theoretical knowledge is really something. It wasn't Lu Qing who was surprised, but Qin Mo. Kai Zongming spread his hands and said proudly, not only do I have theoretical knowledge, but I also have practical experience. Lu Qing firmly remembered the teachings and opened the calendar on his phone to confirm when he was going to check the time and which day to arrange his date for. Looking at the calendar, he suddenly froze. Thursday is Valentine's Day. Shouldn't I do something? It wouldn't be good if he didn't do something. This is a matter of attitude. As for setting the date on that day, it definitely wouldn't work. He had to practice martial arts in the morning and have classes in the afternoon and evening. This was his schedule, and Yenjika should be the same. He could summon up the courage to skip classes, but girls who liked to study might not be willing to do so. Even if they were willing, they couldn't get out. Songqing University's new campus was under closed management. After the official start of the semester, they were only allowed to enter and leave on weekends. Usually, they had to have a teacher's certificate or a student's certificate to take the school bus. In the first half of the last semester, they could buy a few more tickets on weekends and save them for other days. Later, they were defeated by the date and date printed on every ticket. In fact, with his skills, it wasn't difficult to find a place where no one could see and jump over a fence or a wall. But it didn't seem right to take a girl on her first date. Kai Zhongming's mouth twitched. What are you trying to say? Prepare for your date. If you're really worried, just pick 2 or 3 dates and put Valentine's Day among them. After all, you have to match her time, right? This way, she'll understand your intention for a date on Valentine's Day. You've got the attitude, and it's up to her whether she chooses or not. Of course, you have to be more attentive and give her more hints on that day. Got it. Lu Qing felt that listening to Casanova was better than studying for 10 years. Then he thought of another thing. Talker, I've mentioned it to Coach Shi. If you want to participate in the special training, you can gather at the Martial Arts Center at 8:00 tomorrow morning. Okay, I'm going to work hard. Kai Zhongming pretended to be serious. After a day of online searching, reading, and selecting, Lu Qing had 2 or 3 targets. He planned to check them out before the official start of the semester. In the early morning, the fog was dim. He changed into the Songqing University martial arts suit with white and black edges and jogged to the secluded place by the lake where he practiced daily. He saw Geezer Shi already waiting there. Show me your supernatural ability. Geezer Shi ordered directly. Of course, Lu Qing wouldn't rub his fingers to start a fire. That would be too low. He suddenly shook his arm and used abrupt force. With a snap, a layer of flame was ignited on the surface of his fist. Just like that? Geezer Shi looked disdainful. Lu Qing was embarrassed. Yeah, I'm still adapting. I haven't improved. Keep it up and see how long you can keep it up. Geezer Shi muttered. The cold wind was chilly and the flame was swaying. Lu Qing tried his best to keep it from going out instantly. Geezer Shi took out a cigarette and put it in his mouth. He moved closer and lit the end of the cigarette. He took a deep breath and exhaled green smoke from his nose. With this, Lu Qing's flame went out. It went out. You can only light a cigarette like that. Geezer Shi sneered. In actual combat, you can only have a certain effect if you're caught off guard. I was going to teach you how to combine your supernatural ability to imitate the moves of physical invulnerability. But now, hee. Combine my supernatural ability to imitate the moves of physical invulnerability? Lu Qing asked in surprise. Geezer Shi said with slight disdain, many supernatural abilities are just a weakened version of physical invulnerability. Of course, they can be used to imitate. That's why many supernatural ability users can defeat 7th or 8th pin Dan stage fighters if they don't use their supernatural ability and look like professional 9th pin fighters. As he spoke, he suddenly took a step forward, and with a hook of his right hand, he released a ball of sparkling white energy. It moved close to the ground, and wherever it passed, the grass and trees would turn into ice. When it hit a tree, it immediately covered it with a silver armor, and also eliminated all of its vitality. Lu Qing was inexplicably horrified and slightly stunned. Unlike the televised battles between physical invulnerability experts, the feeling of being close at hand was more real and more shocking. Master is really a physical invulnerability expert. Cough, cough, cough. Geezer Shi coughed violently for a long time before glancing at Lu Qing proudly. Isn't my ice spirit force very similar to the power of frost? Yes, yes, yes. Lu Qing nodded subconsciously. Geezer Shi calmed down and laughed inwardly. Even if you surprise me from time to time, you'll still be shocked by my ice spirit force. He pondered and said, I'll observe your power of blaze for a while and find a way to train it and increase its power. Okay, let's start today's practice. Today, I'll teach you 2 new martial arts. One is based on your mastery of meditation, listening skill, and condensation stance. It's called Ice Mirror. It's a weakened version of the ice sex enemy heart freezing move. When you master it to the extreme, you'll be able to roughly sense the changes in your opponent's muscles within a radius of 2 meters without touching. However, this martial art is very difficult to master. Try to master it within 2 or 3 years. Of course, you can't rely on it completely. You still need to integrate the feedback from your eyes, nose, and ears. After so many years, many sects have developed moves to counter it. Some of them can hide, confuse, or counteract the movement. The other one is a new fighting style called Thunder Roar Zen. It's a martial art I created by combining the Thunder sect's electric force and the Ice sect's frozen force. In the body refining stage and Danchi stage, it manifests as explosion and collapse, which is commonly known as tremor force. When you hit your opponent, the force will explode explosively, shaking the opponent's body from the outside to the inside. It will shake the opponent's chi and blood and affect the internal organs. It's not something that can be blocked by a simple parry. Before I reached physical invulnerability, I risked my life in a war-torn zone and fought with a strong enemy. I hit him 19 times with the Thunder Roar Zen punch. Although he blocked every move in time, he was still shaken to the point of internal bleeding. The more I fought, the weaker he became. In the end, he died in my hands. Lu Cheng was excited. So powerful? Geezer sure laughed. I watched your competition videos. Didn't you meet a guy who used modern cannon punches? That's because he didn't practice his kung fu well. He only had the force of the cannon, but not the force of the explosion. Otherwise, you would have been shaken to pieces and it wouldn't have been easy for you to regain your center of gravity. It's a pity that the supernatural ability you awakened isn't frost. Otherwise, you could have mastered the killing move of Thunder Roar Zen, severe warning in advance. In that case, one punch could shake the opponent's body, including his brain, and make him feel as if his mind was frozen by frost. He would be obviously stiff. I'll try to awaken the supernatural ability of frost. Lu Cheng murmured to himself. It sounded like awakening supernatural abilities was like picking up cabbages. In the following time, he began to learn the corresponding training routines, force exertion skills, and special visualization. Before he knew it, it was almost 8 o'clock. After a quick breakfast, he hurried to the martial arts club. The special training members and the newly joined Kai Zongming had already arrived. Lu Cheng glanced around and saw Yan Zhika beside Guoqing. Yan Zhika was dressed in morning clothes. Her white Songqing University martial arts suit with black edges really made her look beautiful. They looked at each other and smiled warmly. Lu Cheng walked briskly to Kai Zongming and his senior brother Li Mao, who had practiced with him last semester. Lu Cheng, you look good. Li Mao greeted him. Lu Cheng smiled. Senior brother Li, you look the same. You seem to be stronger. Li Mao said proudly, I didn't slack off during the holidays. I mastered part of the 24 blizzard strikes. I think I'm at the level of amateur second pin now. I'll try more actual combat this semester to overcome my nervousness. Awesome. Lu Cheng praised sincerely. Chen Zhonghua, the president beside Li Mao, also smiled. Not bad. Our martial arts club has a successor. President Chen, I thought you wouldn't come this semester because of your internship. Li Mao and Chen Zhonghua didn't have so many barriers after getting along in the division competition. Chen Zhonghua smiled. I told the company's personnel to focus on preparing for the ranking event in April and try to get the professional 9th pin in one fell swoop. For the company, this is equivalent to saving money. The boss can hire one less bodyguard when he takes me on a business trip. This is the advantage of a compound talent. Don't worry, Li Mao. I won't take away your actual combat opportunity. Lu Cheng, you also need to practice hard. He had a good impression of Lu Cheng. He was a freshman who was busy preparing logistics last year. While they were talking and laughing, Geezer walked in. He looked around and signaled everyone to be quiet. He coughed twice and said, "There's no competition this year. We need to find our own actual combat opportunity to practice. I plan to form a team for our martial arts club and sign up for the preliminaries." Preliminaries? Except for Lu Cheng and Yen Jika, who already knew about it, the others lost their composure. Some were surprised and some were shocked. They were using the entrance competition of the professional circle as practice. After a while, they calmed down and were full of joy, waiting for Geezer's next words. Geezer smiled faintly and said, "After the winter break, I'm not sure about the strength of you kids. Let's have a match later so that I can get a feel for you. Before that, I'll only announce the 2 main players of the preliminaries." 2 main players? Everyone looked at Lin K and Chen Zhanghua. The first one, Lin Quebec, Geezer's voice was a little louder. Everyone was calm and felt it was natural. Geezer coughed and continued. The second one, Lu Cheng. P.S. More than 4,000 words. It's enough for other people's public news. Please recommend it on Monday. Chapter 104. Second, Lu Cheng. Hearing this name, Li Mao subconsciously raised his hand and picked his ears. He felt like he was hallucinating. Lu Cheng. Main force of the preliminaries? Why couldn't these 2 words be connected? He wasn't disappointed that he couldn't directly become the main force. According to his own estimation, apart from Lin K, Chen Zhanghua, who was close to professional 9th pin, could also firmly suppress the others. Even if he was about to leave the martial arts club and lose the opportunity to practice in actual combat, he had already told Coach Shi in advance. Wasn't there still Senior Sun Jian? He was the main force of the last semester's district competition. He didn't slack off during the winter vacation and practiced hard every day. Finally, he turned the hard work and accumulation of the previous months into a harvest. Now that he had reached the level of amateur 2nd pin, would Senior Sun Jian slack off? If that was the case, what motivation would he have to participate in the special training? Besides, Senior Sun Jian's girlfriend, Lin Hua, was not much worse than him. It wasn't surprising that she suddenly had an epiphany and mastered the still stance and used the winter vacation to catch up with him. But the second main force of the preliminaries was not Chen Zhanghua, Senior Sun, or Lin Hua, but Lu Cheng. If it were other names, Li Mao would probably accept it after being surprised. Jiang Fusheng, Li Xiaowen, and Wu Meng were mediocre, and the main purpose of participating in the special training was to improve their ranks to a certain extent so that they could find more ways to find a job in the future. But stories of suddenly awakening dragons soaring to the sky happened from time to time. If it happened, he would sigh and be envious of them for a long time and feel disappointed for half a year. As for Guo Qing and Yen Jika, the 2 freshmen, it was said that they were quite talented. It was reasonable for them to create miracles. But that name was Lu Cheng. Lu Cheng was the one who trained with him and fed him moves from the beginning. She had personally witnessed him grow day by day from being at a loss of what to do to a skilled amateur fighter. She couldn't be more familiar with his strength. She had once been rather surprised by this, but compared to now, the surprise back then was simply insignificant. The distance from a standard rookie to a skilled fighter was definitely much shorter than the distance from a skilled fighter to a main force in the qualifiers. It was much, much shorter. At this time, the strange silence around made Li Mao sure that he didn't hear wrong. He couldn't help but be in a trance. Was it only reasonable in novels, but not in reality? He didn't want to believe, and didn't dare to believe. How could a newbie who had just become second to Lin K? How long had it been? Wu Meng, Jiang Fusheng, and Li Xiaowen were very unfamiliar with Lu Cheng. They only knew that he was a special training teammate and what he looked like. Usually, when they saw him, they would just nod and greet him. They didn't know his rank or his martial arts progress. At this moment, they were more confused than shocked. Is it that Lu Cheng? Is he the Lu Cheng we usually see? Or was it someone with the same name? If it was the former, how did he suddenly rise from a nobody to a main force in the qualifiers? Chen Zhanghua, Sun Jian, and Lin Hua's feelings were different from Li Mao's. They stared at Geyser, unable to believe that Lu Cheng, who could not even enter the substitute list of the divisional competition more than 2 months ago, who could only do odd jobs like logistics, who had no imposing manner in normal times, had suddenly become the main force of the martial arts club without a fight. They just stared at Geyser, expecting him to say, "I was just kidding." They even forgot that Lu Cheng was beside them and could see them if they turned their heads. In the indescribable silence, Lu Cheng looked at Yan Zhika, only to see her wrinkling her pretty nose at him, as if to say, "Look. This is your sin." He couldn't help but smile. He glanced at Lin Ke next to him, wanting to see what the leader of the martial arts club thought of him as the second main force. He also wanted to see what his brother-in-law thought of him. Maybe it was because of the delay that gave Lin Ke time to recover. Lu Cheng didn't see anything from Lin Ke's face. He was as cold and introverted as usual, showing no interest in anything other than martial arts. Cheng. Why is Cheng the second main force? It was Guo Qing who broke the strange silence. She blurted out and looked at Yan Zhika next to her in surprise, as if she wanted to get an explanation from her. Soon, she turned her head and looked for Lu Cheng in the distance, trying to make sure that he didn't have 3 heads and 6 arms. Cough. Geyser coughed to attract everyone's attention. Then he ordered casually, "Lu Cheng, Lin Ke, you two fight. I'll be the referee." Fight? With Lin Ke? Li Mao and Sun Jian finally looked at Lu Cheng. They didn't know what to say, as if they were saying, "It's for real." Fight? With Lin Ke? Lu Cheng was shocked at first, and then his body trembled with an indescribable feeling. This day had come earlier than he had expected. After the Jindan started to play a role in martial arts, he often fantasized about improving his strength day by day. When he was in his 3rd or 4th year, he would be able to realize the idea of a real man when he first met Lin Ke and compete with him for the position of the leader of the martial arts club. After the Little Warrior Sage Challenge tournament, he had a whole new understanding of his own martial arts level. He felt that if Lin Ke had not broken through to the Dan stage in another half a year, he would have a chance of winning if they were to fight again. When he started practicing Thunder Roar Zen this morning, he thought that once he mastered the basics of this martial art, he would have a chance to challenge Lin Quebec. This martial art shocked the opponent in fighting and the self in practicing. It shocked the bone marrow, meridians, and internal organs with the sound of thunder and gradually tempered them. It was to integrate the strength of the whole body and achieve absolute reaction, laying the most solid foundation for the Dan stage. But he didn't expect that on the first day of the new semester's special martial arts training, on the first day of Thunder Roar Zen, his master would ask him to fight with Lin Ke before he was ready. He closed his eyes, calmed down his trembling, and became excited and eager to fight. This was a fight with his former target. This was a fight with the young warrior who used to be high and mighty in his mind. To be honest, he had been worried that Yan Zhika would fall in love with Lin Quebec. However, due to the huge gap between him and Lin Ke in all aspects, he couldn't bring himself to be jealous of him. Instead, he only felt a strong sense of jealousy and fear, as well as a sense of inferiority that he didn't want to admit. However, after knowing that Lin Ke was his brother-in-law, most of these feelings disappeared completely. No matter what the result was, when he could face him calmly, stand in the same arena with him, and fight with him fiercely, he would completely bury the feeling of inferiority in the past. Lin Ke's eyes seemed to brighten up a little. He strode out of the line and walked towards the arena. Lu Cheng subconsciously looked at Yan Zhika and saw that she was looking at him with a little worry. Worry? Lu Cheng felt warm in his heart and was filled with more strength. He walked up the stone steps on the other side of the arena at a moderate pace. 3 minutes. Geyser made everything seem so formal. Then a soft voice came into Lu Cheng's ears. It was Geyser. he said, "Don't use the power of blaze. Let me have an accurate grasp of your pure martial arts strength." "Okay." Lu Qing nodded slightly and slightly pursed his lips. Looking at the cool but indifferent Lin Ke in front of him, he found that this was the first time he looked at him like this. He was no longer a target, but an opponent. Then how much did he know about his martial arts? In his memory, Lu Qing suddenly realized that he didn't know enough about Lin Ke's martial arts. On the surface, Lin Ke had participated in several matches, and he himself had watched the whole process, so it was impossible for him to lack knowledge. But after careful analysis, there was a big problem. Lin Ke's kung fu was either the most common combination of moves like cannon, hammer, whip, pull, tear, pull, and stir, or the 24 blizzard strikes that he learned after joining the martial arts club. What about his family's kung fu? As for Yan Zhika, he was sure that their grandpa and grandma were not small masters and had inherited their unique martial arts. Why didn't Lin Ke use them? Although the 24 blizzard strikes was also a combination of ordinary moves such as cannon, hammer, and whip, once they were combined with different forces, different techniques, and different visualization methods, they would have different characteristics and different schools. For example, the ancient Xingyi like the tiger shape, the contemporary Xingyi like the cannon fist, the Wuthering 8 movements, and the great steel throwing hand. However, Lin Ke's moves were extremely ordinary and orthodox. They did not reflect the characteristics of his school at all. Did he not practice his family's unique martial arts? Impossible. When Master taught him the yin-yang stance on the first day, he was able to beat Chen Zhanghua quickly with the skill of changing the center of gravity. Obviously, he had already entered the threshold of meditation and practiced a similar visualization method. He had a deep understanding of the body and had a complete inheritance. Then why didn't he use it? Yan Zhika looked worried. Was there going to be an unexpected change this time? Would he use his family's martial arts? While speculating, Lu Qing was also analyzing Lin Ke's weaknesses. But because he did not know much about his martial arts foundation, he could only confirm one point. His physical strength was weak, and he could only last one round of 24 blizzard strikes in the district competition. But this was last semester. As for Lin Ke now, Lu Qing closed his eyes. He could vaguely hear his opponent's strong heartbeat and the sound of blood gushing through his body. According to Yan Zhika, his qi and blood were at the peak of the body refining state, which made up for his physical strength. Since he did not know his opponent well and could not grasp his weakness, then he should take me as the master. But if he took me as the master, he should show all his strength from the beginning, like a life and death battle. Thinking about this, Lu Qing calmed down and opened his eyes. Deep in his eyes was a peace of serenity, like a frozen lake. His body's center of gravity was adjusted naturally, constantly changing like flowing mercury. But opposite him, Lin Ke did not say a word, like an old monk practicing silent meditation. At this moment, Geyser coughed and said, "Start." The audience held their breath, waiting to see Lu Cheng's moves. Lu Cheng's footsteps were crisscrossing, and his center of gravity was constantly swaying, which made it easy for people to have an illusion. Suddenly, he saw Lin Ke step and slide, instantly changing from a standstill to a sprint, like the combination of Yi Yaoding's leopard form and Zhou Yuaning's Wuthering 8 movements. Not only was Lin Ke unbelievably fast, but he also grasped the timing perfectly. In an unexpected way, Lin Ke came in front of him, blocking the position where it was difficult for him to use force and dodge. That vision, that judgment, that footwork. Bam! Lin Ke's right hand punched out with a half-step crushing punch. The distance was short, and the force was so strong that it seemed to shake the air, leaving no chance for Lu Qing to dodge. Lu Qing did not wait to stop moving forward. He swayed his center of gravity, sprung his spine, and moved his back like a flood dragon, forcibly moving to the side and narrowly avoiding the punch. If not for his mercurial center of gravity, with his ability to control his body, he would not have been able to dodge in such a hurry. Hiss. Li Mao and others made different sounds. They did not have a direct impression of the level of Lin Ke's attack just now, but they felt that it should be so. But they were shocked by Lu Cheng's almost mysterious body movement. Just by this dodge, they could imagine his strength. Li Mao subconsciously looked at Kai Zhongming next to him, and smiled blankly and bitterly. Why do I feel that reality is a little bit like a fantasy? I have felt so for a long time. Kai Zhongming looked at the arena and sighed. Chapter 105. He moved to Lin Kei's side and avoided the fierce half-step crushing punch. Lu Cheng was not in a hurry to attack. Instead, he adjusted his center of gravity again and tried to move to another position. The life and death battle with the ninth pin of the dark sect made him understand that killing moves were not always used alone. Instead, they were used one after another to prevent the enemy from finding a chance to turn the tables. Just like the time when he used the secret skill of spirit and imposing force, followed by the poison needle force. No master would think that once the killing move was used, everything would be fine and there would be no follow-up preparation. If so, how could Lin Kei be so sure that he would not be able to avoid his meteor-like attack? Once he dodged, what kind of prediction, preparation, and follow-up moves did he have? In the case of a gap in strength, one must not be careless. One must be cautious. This thought flashed through Lu Cheng's mind. His body had already made a decision. He straightened his back and wriggled his spine. As soon as his feet touched the ground, he swung again and flashed behind Lin Kei like a ghost. He had just left his original position when he suddenly felt a gust of wind. Lin Kei's right leg kicked out quickly and silently. It slid past his trousers and gave him a burning sensation. Hidden killing move, silent hidden kick. This kick made Lu Cheng break out in a cold sweat. Because he did not notice it before, if he did not move cautiously, he would not have been able to avoid it when he saw the kick. During the Warrior Sage Challenge tournament, he had used the condensation stance to enhance his senses. Through the tug of Jin Tao's thighs on his pants, he had predicted Jin Tao's fast, accurate, and ruthless, tiger tail kick, and narrowly blocked that attack. But now, before Lin Kei's hidden kick, there was no sign, as if it was driven by an instantaneous explosion. The instantaneous explosion was supposed to be like inch force, tearing the wind, rubbing against the air and making short and strong sounds. But at this moment, it was silent. There was not even the sound of a normal move, which made it even harder to guard against. No matter what skill Lin Kei used, it must have involved his strong control of his body. It could not be done unless he was close to the dance stage. Lu Cheng's heart skipped a beat, but he also found an opportunity. Because he had moved in advance, when Lin Kei's hidden kick was out, he had moved behind his opponent. At this time, Lin Kei had not retracted his right leg, so it was difficult for him to dodge or exert force. Since this was an opportunity, how could he let it go? Lu Cheng lowered his center of gravity and lowered his waist into a sitting position. Seizing this fleeting opportunity, he visualized towering snowy peaks, thousands of years of snow, and lightning falling from the sky. Rumble. The layer of snow collapsed and the white stream turned into a raging wave. Lu Cheng twisted his waist and turned his right leg to one side. He put his foot on the ground and transferred the power of the lightning fire stance and the avalanche to the ring. As if the arena was shaking, it bounced back with the same terrifying force. Lu Cheng's leg bounced up and his spine wriggled like a dragon. In an instant, he completed the transfer of power from his leg to his hand. It was as if he had stirred up all the strength in his body. The ferocity of fists and palms was not limited to the upper body, but between the legs and feet. After a winter's hard training, the reflection of his own problems in the challenge tournament, and the actual combat of life and death, Lu Cheng dared not say that he had made up for his weakness in strength, but he had made a lot of progress. More importantly, he had a deeper and more subtle understanding of how to exert strength and how to mobilize the strength in his body. Between one punch, under the condition that his pure strength did not change, the power was a little stronger than in the challenge tournament. Although it was not as strong as a professional ninth pin fighter, he was qualified to fight head-on. A violent force surged through his back. He clenched his right hand and threw a downward chop at Lin Kei's neck. A loud and clear sound reverberated, and the bluestone ground that he had used as a source of strength was faintly crushed into pieces. Chen Zhonghua, Sun Jian, Li Mao, and the others were shocked to see Lu Qing, who used to be a nobody, not only dodge Lin Kei's terrifying attack, but also avoid the silent and dangerous hidden kick with a mysterious body movement. Not only that, but he also found a chance to defeat Lin Quebec. Once again, Chen Zhonghua, Sun Jian, Li Mao, and the others were shocked. Their eyes were wide open. Once again, they had a new understanding of Lu Qing. Even Kai Zhongming, who had watched Lu Qing's competition videos, gasped. The strength of a professional ninth pin fighter in the video could only be seen with one's own eyes. But in reality, Lin Kei had a lot of battle records and daily performances. The feeling of defeating him and defeating a stranger of professional ninth pin were completely different. Yan Zhika had witnessed Lu Qing's growth and experienced the Warrior Sage Challenge tournament with him. But at that time, she watched the video after knowing the result. She had expected the change and was full of confidence. But now, she had no way to know who the final winner was, and she was not sure whether the current change of the situation had determined the result. Her heart was full of emotions called anxiety and curiosity, so she watched with great concentration. Seeing that Lu Qing seized the opportunity to counterattack, she did not show joy, but a trace of worry flashed across her face. Bam! When Lu Qing clenched his fist and struck down, Lin Kei had just retracted his leg. Not only was his back facing the enemy, but it seemed that he had no time to respond. At this moment, Lu Qing saw his body suddenly tremble. He bounced to the left and evaded the attack on his neck. His shoulders shook and swung, releasing a force as powerful as a bomb explosion. He took the initiative to collide with Lu Qing's fist. Bam! When the two came into contact, Lu Qing felt that after Lin Kei used the shaking posture to reduce some of the power, he actually followed the momentum of his own punch and leaned forward, wriggling his shoulders like a spring, giving him a strange feeling that his punch had hit cotton. Not good. Lu Qing suddenly realized. He wanted to adjust his center of gravity and return to his mercurial state. But at this time, Lin Kei was like a lever, pressing one end and bouncing the other end. When he leaned forward, he twisted his back, undulating his spine, tightened his thighs, and pulled out his left foot with a snap, causing half of his body to lean forward. Lu Qing had no time to dodge, so he had to continue to lower his center of gravity. His left hand quickly reached down and accurately pressed Lin Kei's leg like an eagle catching a chick. Bam! His ice-cold heart suddenly flashed with astonishment. He felt that the strength of Lin Kei's kick was beyond his imagination. It was surging and ferocious, even stronger than Yi Yaoting's outburst. It was as if two professional ninth pin fighters were exerting their strength at the same time. Borrowing strength? He removed half of my strength and borrowed the other half? What a terrible way to remove and borrow strength. As this thought flashed through his mind, Lu Qing was lifted backward by this majestic force. He lost his center of gravity and his left hand was numb. He could only stumble backward without any stance or footwork. Lin Kei would definitely not let this opportunity go. He would definitely take advantage of it and attack continuously, just like when he defeated Chen Zhonghua. Lu Qing's shock had disappeared. His heart was like a lake of condensed water. Without thinking, based on his experience, he gave up on adjusting his center of gravity and directly leaned back. Taking advantage of the momentum, he kicked out his left leg with a snap. Iron Bridge, dragon turning over. As soon as Lin Kei approached, he saw a kick whistling towards his face. However, he remained calm and didn't try to stop it. He didn't give Lu Qing a chance to take advantage of his strength. His spine wriggled like a dragon and he suddenly bounced to the side against common sense. The muscles of his right leg tightened and he was about to pull it out. Lu Qing's kick missed and his heart tightened slightly. He simply gave up the idea of borrowing strength to stand up. Instead of dodging, he curled up his body and quickly rolled toward Lin Kei's position. As soon as he got close and Lin Kei's leg was about to pull out, he suddenly pressed down with his left hand. With the help of the rebound of the cold ground and the transmission of his spine, his right hand hit a strong and fierce soaring cannon, directly hitting Lin Kei's genitals. The blow of the dark sect 9th pin fighter had left a deep impression on him. Now he used the same move to seek victory in defeat. As for whether it would cause casualties, he did not consider it at all and left it to the referee to decide. This was a challenge tournament, not a performance. There was no room for hesitation. As the soaring cannon rose, a sense of desperation arose spontaneously. There were several unconcealable cries of surprise around. Lin Kei hesitated and did not choose to kick Lu Cheng's temple, putting life and death on the line. Instead, he adjusted slightly and whipped toward Lu Cheng's right fist, tearing the air. Bam! As soon as the two made contact, Lu Cheng immediately adjusted his muscles to feel the rebound. Borrowing strength, he straightened his back and bounced up. His left hand formed a fist and pushed it toward Lin Kei's chest and abdomen with the force of a mega avalanche. Lin Kei also borrowed strength. His body leaned to one side and his right hand moved like a block. With a strong and fierce force, he hammered Lu Cheng's fist. Bam! Lu Cheng's left fist was knocked away. But with a shake of his wrist, after a beautiful and delicate arc, he circled around and grabbed Lin Kei's right wrist. This is one of the moves of the big and small hand wrap. I don't believe that you've also mastered meditation and have such a strong listening skill. As soon as he grasped Lu Cheng's wrist, Lin Kei's body and shoulders bounced. His right arm shook and released Lu Cheng's left hand with an explosive force. Then, like a snake, he spread and tried to grab Lu Cheng's hand. In that small space, the two people's hands kept touching and separating. They listened to each other's strength and changed their own movements. Their joints and tendons would occasionally be torn or shaken apart, and they had no time to move their other arms and legs. After a few back and forth, Lu Cheng finally managed to grab Lin Kei's wrist with his superior listening skill. He was about to exert force when Lin Kei suddenly took a deep breath. The pores on his wrist closed and then opened. His skin seemed to expand, which not only bounced off Lu Cheng's fingers but also blocked his listening skill. At this moment, Lin Kei's temples bulged. He pulled his left arm slightly and punched forward at a very short distance. His speed was as fast as a shooting star, and his body seemed to grow bigger. Lu Cheng had no time to dodge or pull back his listening skill. He could only put his elbow in front of him and quickly lowered his center of gravity. Bang! The punch landed. Lu Cheng felt like he was hit by a bomb. His whole body was shaking, from muscles to bones, tendons to ligaments, blood to joints. His qi and blood were surging, and he couldn't exert force. Lin Kei seized the opportunity and stepped forward. He leaned sideways and pressed his shoulder against Lu Cheng's chest. Geezer coughed and said, "Lin Kei wins." Although Lin Kei won, Li Mao, Guoqin, Chen Zhonghua and the others who witnessed it felt like they had seen a devil or a miracle. They were speechless. Lu Cheng was not only a quasi-professional, but also a professional 9th pin fighter. And he had only been practicing martial arts for half a year. Half a year, Lin Kei took 2 deep breaths and looked at Lu Cheng with cold eyes. He nodded slightly and spoke for the first time today, "Not bad." Under the stage, Yan Zhika covered her cheeks with her hands and looked at Lu Cheng with sparkling eyes. P.S. At everyone's request, I'm updating in advance. Please recommend me. Chapter 106. Lu Cheng's current mood was quite complicated. He was happy to be able to fight with Lin Kei, his old target, and satisfied to have met his match. But at the same time, he also had a feeling of F***K. He had hoped to challenge Lin Kei after mastering Thunder War Zen, but in the blink of an eye, he was defeated by Lin Kei with similar martial arts or force. The feeling of being shocked all over was really uncomfortable. He really couldn't underestimate a young master with excellent qualifications and family history. As for the regret and pain of defeat, he didn't feel that strongly this time. How could losing to brother-in-law be considered a failure? This was a strategic victory. Didn't brother-in-law say, not bad? When he came to visit in the future, he would definitely have a yes vote. There was a second just now when I thought I could defeat you. He shamelessly complimented Lin Quebec. Lin K nodded slightly and turned to walk to the stone steps. Lu Qing instinctively looked down at Yen Jika, only to see her slightly pursed pink lips, bright eyes, and slightly curved mouth. As soon as their eyes met, she suddenly turned her head to the side and blushed slightly. Is she satisfied with my performance? Lu Qing stared at her without blinking. He felt as if his eyes had turned into a camera, memorizing Yen Jika's beauty frame by frame. Yen Jika seemed to feel his focus. She wrinkled her pretty nose, turned around, clenched her right fist, and made a posture like a rocket launcher with a fierce expression. Humph. Lu Qing seemed to imagine a delicate humph in his mind, as if he heard the girl say, "How dare you use this move on my brother?" This. Lu Qing blushed with shame and forced a smile. He put his hands together and begged for forgiveness. Why are you standing on the platform like a fool? Go down after the fight. At this time, he heard Geysersher's angry voice. Pfft. Yen Jika couldn't help but laugh. She couldn't keep the fierce expression on her face anymore. Her eyebrows relaxed, and her dimples showed. She looked like 100 flowers in full bloom. Lu Qing was stunned for a moment, but soon sobered up. He awkwardly scratched the back of his head and hurriedly moved forward. In a panic, he directly jumped out of the arena. The clueless Li Mao, Chen Zhonghua, and the others sensed the atmosphere and burst into laughter. Kai Zongming, who was observant and knew the whole story, laughed so hard that he couldn't stand up straight. After this episode, the shock in everyone's heart eased a lot. They also accepted the fact that Lu Qing had miraculously improved by leaps and bounds. No matter how good his martial arts strength was, he was still the young and inexperienced freshman, the Lu Qing of the past. Seeing Lu Qing returning to the team, Li Mao gave a wry smile and expressed his surprise. It's only been a while since we last sparred. How did you reach the level of professional 9th pin? Even if you're on a rocket, it won't be that fast. Lu Qing was pleased to hear that. He said modestly, Senior brotherly, we haven't sparred since the start of the division tournament. It's been about 3 months, right? A scholar who has been away for 3 days must be looked at with new eyes, let alone 3 months. Even if it's been 3 years, I still can't accept it. Look at how hard I worked to improve from amateur 3rd pin to amateur 2nd pin. How can you improve so quickly? How can others live? Li Mao said, half joking and half sighing. Lu Qing smiled and said, it's probably because I'm talented in meditation. I've mastered the visualization of yin-yang stance and 24 blizzard strikes very quickly. My control of my body has become stronger. Naturally, my training is targeted. 1 piece can replace 5 pieces. He gave a brief explanation in a joking manner. Li Mao and the others didn't ask for a detailed explanation. Just this explanation was enough to comfort themselves and restore their emotions. They all sighed and praised Lu Qing. Among them, Chen Zhonghua said in a slightly disappointed tone, "You're right. If I had known, would have delayed my graduation. With Lin K and you as the main force, our team will definitely make it. Maybe we can even enter the nationals." Lu Qing didn't know how to answer. He could only nod as a response. Beside him, Kai Zongming lowered his voice and smiled. Qing, about the competition before the summer vacation. Before he finished, Lu Qing interrupted him with a smile. This is a man's promise. Are you going back on your words again? Of course not. Kai Zongming said sternly. What do you mean by again? But I think it's not enough to tie one hand. You should tie the other one as well. Lu Qing was annoyed and amused. Do you want to tie both legs? Kai Zongming chuckled. If you're willing. Get lost. Lu Qing responded concisely. After everyone calmed down, Geysersher coughed a few times and said, You don't have any objection to Lin Ke and Lu Qing being the main force in the preliminaries, right? No. Their voices were very loud and they shouted in unison. But the emotions in their tones were different, which made Lu Qing feel good. Geyser nodded with satisfaction. Next, let's continue the competition. Sun Jian, Li Mao, you two fight. Everyone's attention soon returned to the arena. Lu Qing was also interested in the performance of Li Mao and senior brother Sun Jian. Li Mao and senior brother Sun Jian were fighting very well. 24 blizzard strikes versus 24 blizzard strikes. The sound of collisions could be heard from time to time. The battle was so fierce that it was hard to tell who was the winner. They haven't entered the entry level of silence skill. 24 blizzard strikes only have the appearance but no substance. Lu Qing couldn't help but sigh. His two senior brothers, who he used to think were very strong, were full of flaws in his eyes now. The core of the 24 blizzard strikes lay in the 3 visualization methods. If one couldn't enter meditation quickly, one would lose the biggest difference between it and other martial arts. Moreover, the other core of this fighting method was to constantly borrow force to become stronger and stronger, fierce and crazy. However, without the control and adjustment of the body by the yin-yang stance, and without the effect of the condensation stance, one could only vaguely grasp the shape of it. After 7 or 8 minutes, both of their physical strength reached a bottleneck. Finally, the winner was decided. Li Mao lost to Sun Jian by 1 move, but his improvement was also very obvious. He showed the strength of amateur second pin. Next, the battles continued one after another. Lin Hua against Li Xiaowen and Wu Meng against Jiang Fusheng. Next round, Guoqing, Yan Zhike, you two. Geyser glanced at the team. Lu Qing immediately looked at Yan Zhike. He saw that she suddenly pursed her lips and seemed to be a little nervous. Then she turned her head and looked at him. When their eyes met, Lu Qing hurriedly made a gesture to cheer her up. He opened and closed his mouth, mouthing the same words, and kept a calm smile, trying to influence her with his attitude and dispel most of her nervousness. Yan Zhike smiled gently, looking gentle and smart. She closed her eyes and walked toward the ring. During the 3-minute conversation, she didn't say anything, as if she was adjusting her mood. Guoqing and her were good sisters, so naturally, she wouldn't disturb her. Lu Qing looked at her nervously. He was afraid that Yan Zhike would be hurt, but he was also worried that she would fail and become depressed. He didn't know what level she was at now. With Geyser's start, Yan Zhike didn't defend and counterattacked. She lowered her back and moved forward with the snake steps. Her center of gravity seemed to be swaying. Guoqing's expression changed slightly. She didn't expect Yan Zhike to have such a great achievement in the snake steps. She didn't dare to attack blindly, so she put on a defensive posture. Yan Zhike took a step forward and slid to Guoqing's left side. Clenching her right hand into a fist, she whipped out a single whip. Her fierce momentum was in sharp contrast to her delicate figure, giving people a subtle feeling of softness and toughness. Guoqing's shoulders were thick and she was born with great strength. Seeing this, she didn't fear. She pulled back her left arm and rushed forward with a blast punch. Bang! The two collided. Yan Zhike's body shook slightly, but strangely swayed back. She put her left hand in a block and hammered down sharply. The leveraging skill of 24 blizzard strikes. Lu Qing watched with satisfaction. Yan Zhike had already entered the entry level of meditation and mastered the yin-yang stance well. Now she finally mixed it into the 24 blizzard strikes. Yan Zhike's moves became fiercer and fiercer. Guoqing tried to respond with the 24 blizzard strikes. Since she hadn't entered meditation, she couldn't leverage as much as Yan Zhike. Gradually she fell into a passive position. Her family had a martial arts club and she had good qualifications. Seeing this, she knew she was in trouble. She suddenly exhaled and forcefully bumped into Yan Zhike, trying to use her strength to interrupt the 24 blizzard strikes. But at this time, Yan Zhike's back moved up and down like a dragon. Her spine bounced and pulled back with some difficulty. She changed her direction and avoided Guaqing's attack. Then she performed the 24 blizzard strikes again. Guaqing, who couldn't get rid of Yan Zhika, could only hold on bitterly. The rest was history. Yan Zhika wins. With Geysershi's announcement, Lu Qing raised his hands. Then he saw Yan Zhika looking at him. Her pink lips moved up and down, slightly gasping for breath. Her cheeks were flushed because of the fierce battle. Her eyes were so bright that people didn't dare to look at them directly, for fear that they would be lost in them. Seeing Yan Zhika's excited and happy face, Lu Qing raised both his hands and gave her a thumbs up. Then he made a posture of prostrating himself on the ground to show his happiness and admiration. Yan Zhika's eyes curved and the corners of her mouth raised. She looked proud and playful. Compared with her elegant and delicate appearance, it was a different kind of beauty. Watching her come down, Lu Qing recalled the battle just now. He didn't know if it was because one is marked by one's company, but Yan Zhika's fighting style was obviously imitating his own. What's more, she was good at the same things as him, except that she didn't have abnormal physical strength. She was almost a weaker version of him. Of course, the details were different. She hadn't used the martial arts passed down in her family. So far, she had a stable strength of amateur fourth pin. Counting the secret martial arts passed down in her family, she was probably of amateur third pin. The last round, Chen Zhonghua and Kai Zhongming. Geysershi announced. Kai Zhongming's face changed slightly. He turned to Lu Qing and blurted out, "I'm going to fight too. I just joined, and it's with that crazy gorilla." Lu Qing looked at him sincerely and said with pity, "My condolences. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.